Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount+.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount+.
I lost my dad in my hand.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount+.
Things are heating up, that's for sure. We found this opportunity, and we're working for it.
My man.
Tulsa King. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount+.
You need a hug?
You need a fist?
Crutch, crutch, crutch.
Crutch, crutch.
Crutch, you need anything.
I do have one question.
We didn't mean right now.
In the summer of 1994, 20 players helped forever change the face of American soccer. For many fans today, you can draw a direct line from the '94 World Cup to this moment. Today is the day we're going to have official confirmation of the 26 players who will be given the opportunity to carry the torch for the US men's national team into a home World Cup. For some players, today is going to be agonizingly disappointing, but for others, it's going to be just the beginning of their biggest dreams coming true, to represent their country and to strive to become the world champions.
Weston McKennie continues to deliver this season for Juventus. McKennie, it's a superb counter-attacking move. Back to front with devastating consequences. He's quick, following Balogun. The angle is narrow. He looks to chip the goalkeeper. It's an absolutely wonderful goal by following Balogun. Maybe a match-winning goal.
Absolutely outstanding from Adams. Those sort of goals seem to be the thing.
They come here to Pulisic! What an impact he's had! And Christian Pulisic immediately leaves his mark.
Welcome along, everybody. So nice to have you with us. So it's 16 days to go until the World Cup is here on home soil, and today we will get official confirmation of the roster. I'm Poppy Miller, alongside three US men's national team favourites, Jimmy Conrad, Benny Feilhaber and Charlie Davies. How excited are you, Jimmy, not only for the World Cup, by the way, but the fact that we've got 3 hours this afternoon all together to talk about all the possibilities that could come this summer?
No, I'm really excited. I mean, we've been kind of surmising who's going to be a part of this roster for so long. I mean, essentially from the 2022 World Cup, it's been a countdown to who is going to be representing us for this World Cup, arguably the biggest in the history of a men's national team. So
94 would say otherwise.
Okay, that's fair. That was a big one.
I know.
We're
I don't
standing
even
on
think
their
it's
shoulders.
arguable at this point. This
is it.
The 94 guys
Thank you, Benny. I
would tell
appreciate that.
You're crazy. You know, we started this.
I think they set the table,
they did.
but this is like
Now we're eating.
to launch into the next
the entrees are here.
Yeah.
Do you think this is going to be the biggest and the best yet, Benny?
I do. Not only is it in the U.S. and we're going to be playing in front of our fans, I think also the immensity. It's 48 teams instead of 32. There's more nations. There's nations that are debuting. And then I think this is also a culmination of, what I think after the 2018 debacle that we didn't make it to the World Cup, getting to the 2022 with a young roster, now in 2026 with a more experienced roster, what can we do on home soil? It's been all bubbling up to this.
Yeah, expectations are different. 94, obviously we're hosting, not a lot of hope that we'd get out of our group, but now we expect to not only get out of our group, but to win a knockout round game or 2 or 3 so that we can make history.
Yeah, Benny, you were saying that the round of 16 feels like the decider, whether it's an underachievement or an overachievement based on whether they go to that or past that. By the way, Charlie, can I just say I'm so happy that you put on that T-shirt in the end.
Thank you.
Because Charlie came in a suit today. It just didn't feel right, did it, on a day like today?
Right. Now I feel fresh. I feel ready to go.
You feel free?
The 94 group.
Yeah, for the 94. Shout out to the 94. Because the 94 group was the group, and that World Cup in general was what got me to fall in love with the sport. So I always pay my homage to Tony Meola and Marcelo Balboa and Alexi and Winaldo, not that whole group, because without them, I would have never really fell in love with the sport. So I always want to give them credit, because they did set the foundation for us. They set this foundation for this country, because obviously Major League Soccer was built off of the success of the 1994 tournament. However, when we talk about where this tournament is compared to that one, everyone in this country knows the game now. 94, it was still a mystery. People were like, I'm intrigued by this soccer sport. Remember, 1950, the U.S. played in the World Cup, where they were just in the group stage. We didn't see the World Cup until 1990. We didn't qualify for the World Cup for 40 years. So that's why there was many generations that were like, what the hell kind of sport is this? And so now in 2026, the stage is set, because everyone will be watching. Everyone understands the game. The exposure's there. And the pressure on this group in particular to launch our sport into the next stratosphere, there's a lot of it. It's there, and I think they understand that.
It's such a good point, Charlie. We're going to have Marcelo and Tony Meola joining us a bit later on in the show, as well as Nico Cantor. We're also live on YouTube, so send in your comments, your questions, and you can join us in the chat. I think as well, looking ahead now, you were all inspired by that 1994 World Cup, but how many people and how many kids are going to be inspired by this World Cup that's going to be on their turf, Jimmy? It's really special to think about.
No, 100%. Like Charlie, I was inspired by the 1994 World Cup. I was a teenager at that time in high school, and I got inspired by how inspirational it was to the communities that were supporting their countries. I would go to Old Town Pasadena outside the Rose Bowl and be hanging out with the Brazilian fans, and they'd shut down the streets because their drums were going and people were losing their minds, and I was like, what is it about this sport that makes it so much more unique than everything else?
Did you watch the 90?
Yeah, I watched it on grainy television and an old Pizza Hut back in the day.
But you didn't get a feel for anything.
It was a little bit different. Yeah, it was harder, but once you're there and you're immersed in it, it just changes your life and changes your perspective. And so I wanted to be a part of that. So to have the opportunity to represent the U.S. at a World Cup obviously was very special. We'll get into more of that later. But what I think about now in terms of motivating the next generation, I go back to 2022, because when we got out of our group, we created some momentum. And then when you get out of your group, you got 5 days to kind of just continue to build how special this team can be. And you get into the knockout round game and you play the Dutch. And then I think, man, if we could just win that game, you get 5 more days, and it just stacks on top of each other, this momentum and this inspiration and motivation, I think, for the kids. I want to be a part of that. And so I want to make sure we have a good run in this one. And if we don't, I just feel like it kind of stunts our growth in some ways. Maybe that's too dramatic, maybe putting too much pressure on these guys. But when I look back at the Copa America, where we didn't get out of our group, it just felt like a missed opportunity.
Oh, 100%. I'm with you. You want this team to be the conversation starter every day, because ultimately in this World Cup, I think they're not coming in with the hype that we all would expect, at least for the people that are in it every day. We know they're not peaking at the right time. There's more questions than there are answers, which is a big concern. But if they can prove everyone wrong, because they have the talent, and again, it's putting the right pieces to the puzzle together, it's the coaching, making the right decisions, the tactics. But if you can get those little things right, and then just carry on one match after another and get to a round of 16, you are the topic of conversation every day. And that's
even with casual fans.
And that's what we talk about.
Everybody's talking about the team.
Kids, right?
And I think it's all there. too, right? I mean, you look at their group, they have winnable games. I think they're the favorite in the group, and we've looked through in the scenarios. If they finish in first place, if they finish in second even, right? They play, I think, a second place finisher of not the strongest group. So the possibilities are there not only to win your group, but to get through the round of 32, and then we start dreaming of something bigger towards the round of 16. And I agree with you guys. I think it's the conversation, right? The conversation started in 1994 with, I think, some fascinating moments, right? The Ronaldo goal, I think a lot of people remember that. The game against Brazil, the eventual champions, that they struggled to beat the U.S. 1-0.
Tony Miola's haircut.
Can't forget that.
You can go with Alexi Lala.
Alexi, Tony.
I don't even recognize Alexi, by the way.
Didn't Christian Pulisic mention that he got motivated by Landon Donovan's goal against Algeria, right?
Sure.
So there's always these moments,
there are moments
throughout the tournament that inspires those next wave of kids. So the more games that we can have, the more kids you can potentially
And I think it goes one level further as well, where it's being now hosted in the U.S. And so the ability for us to not only be one of the stories, but for MLS to continue to grow the growth of the sport from the youth as well. I think this tournament is going to be massive for the U.S. and hopefully they have a good showing.
So true. It puts everything on the map, doesn't it, for a lot of fans out there, and especially for the US fans. Speaking of which, Nico Cantor is one of them, and he is at Pier 17 today for us. Here he is.
What's up, Poppy? Yes, it is hot in New York City, finally, and today we're going to find out who the 26 players are that will be going to the World Cup under Mauricio Pochettino for the U.S. men's national team. Here in one of the homes of soccer for this World Cup, 8 matches in this beautiful city, New York City, although that's Brooklyn and the games are going to be played that way. You know, I'm a guy about semantics. It doesn't matter. The vibes are great. People have been lining out Pier 17 and they are pouring in, ready to watch who Pochettino is going to mention in his 26-man list. Of course, the talk here has been about the leaked roster from a couple of days ago. Is Diego Luna going to be left off? Is Gio Reyna going to be in? How many holding midfielders is he going to take? Is there a lack of depth in that position? The center backs, the goalkeepers, so many questions to be answered. This is our World Cup, and we are moments away in one of the hearts of soccer this summer. The Knicks won yesterday. The Knicks are in the NBA Finals, and you know what? They're actually going to be paired with a game France-Senegal. So we're just getting started in this summer of soccer, summer of sport in New York City, and today is the next big event. Poch names his 26-man roster.
I'm so excited. I also watched the Knicks as well. I'm excited for them. I'm excited.
Are you a converted Knicks fan?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I am now. I liked How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. So, you know, they were at the Knicks, and it was kind of like a bit American for me.
Yes, synonymous.
Well, surprisingly, I'm a Cavs fan, but not that big of a Cavs fan this year. I didn't love the roster. So I am not very disappointed about the end of our season there. So go Knicks.
Well, speaking of the roster, obviously Nico mentioned all of the talking points that we're going to talk about through this long show that we've got. But the big thing coming into it was they've got all this spectacle, Jimmy, but the roster's been leaked. I mean,
it has.
What was your reaction to seeing everything come out kind of in the way it did? Were you surprised, first of all?
I was not surprised when I heard that the players were going to find out on the 22nd. So, what, 4 or 5 days ago? At some point, somebody's going to leak that information. Family member, an agent, someone. It's going to get out there in some capacity. It did get out there. And we just got to dive into it a little bit more unofficially, right? And now we're going to get the official roster, and we'll see if anything's changed. I don't think anything is going to change. I think what's been most interesting for me is how the players found out themselves. It wasn't a phone call. It wasn't any of that stuff that we see even in other countries. You see the Brazilian players are watching on TV with their families, and they're way into it, and they get so emotional when we get the names. No, our guys got an email. That feels, I don't know, very corporate, I'd say. Hey, by the way.
Check your spam if you didn't see it on the original.
Hey, JT Batson, I haven't received an email yet. Have you sent one?
Yeah.
Just checking.
It does feel a bit weird, doesn't it? I mean, from an outsider looking in, you think, well, maybe that's the way that it's always been done. How did you boys find out?
I found out via Sports Center. Bruce Arena came on screen and said, here's my team.
That's like the Brazilian national team.
Yeah, that's how I found out about it. And
did you like that? The way that
well, because I was on the team, I loved it. But if I wasn't on the team, I assume that Bruce Arena would have probably got ahead of you or ahead of it with that.
You think he would have called the ones that didn't make it and let the other ones make a big announcement?
But to get an email, like if you're Diego Luna and you're getting email after committing so much time to the program over the last year and a half or during Mauricio Pochettino's tenure, and then just getting that. Like, I get some players getting an email that maybe were a little bit more on the fringe, but Diego Luna felt like he was in it. And for him to get the same kind of basic, sorry, but you're out kind of thing, I was disappointed to hear that.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think, look, we're all humans still, right? And there's the human element, I think, where you have to treat people the way you want to be treated. And yes, we're professional athletes, and there's going to be successes and failures and disappointments. But for the most part, it would make sense for guys that have been on the team for a while to get something more than just an email in your spam folder. Hey, you're not going to the World Cup, by the way. I think it does make sense because it's a relationship-based thing, right? The coach wants to have good relationships with the players, and Diego Luna might not partake in this World Cup, but maybe he'll partake in the next one. And so you want to make sure that those relationships stay intact. So I do think it's a little bit of a weird one.
Well, I think what it does is highlights the relationship Pochettino has with these players. Or the lack thereof.
The disconnect.
Right? So, again, 2010, Bob Bradley gave me a call before, and I wanted to be a part of that. Obviously, that's your dream. But you only can have respect for the person that has to take the time to let you know that you're not going and maybe give you a reason why, even if you disagree. But at least you can live with that because they actually took the time to share with you. And for me personally, that was a very difficult time. But, you know, for Pochettino, it just feels like he's been always at an arm's length from everybody, from every single player. I don't think there's one player on that roster that would say, maybe one. But other than that, I think the general consensus
Diego Luna of how things were.
But the general consensus is no one is close with Pochettino.
Do you think he likes it like that? He tried to make it like that?
Yeah, but this is the thing. Jimmy and I, we're in Europe. So we went to Northern Ireland for our UEFA A coaching license. Now, we had been around a couple of the guys who had played under Pochettino in this class. All of them had said Pochettino is one of those guys that has to know how you're doing. Texts, calls, goes out with you for coffee.
So with this puts his arm around you.
Coach? Yeah, this is with
Southampton
and Southampton.
Yeah.
And that's not existent now.
So why is that?
So for me,
we don't know.
I'm trying to figure out, is it because he's come in such a short time and said, you know what, I just don't want to create that I want to have a barrier between me and the players. I don't want to take the time to get to know these guys just to be done with them. Like, I'm going to wait until I get my final guys, 26, and then take the time. And maybe that's too late, you know? I'm just trying to put on my coach's hat and think, why would you differentiate your approach now as a national team coach versus a club coach in terms of getting to know your guys?
I wonder if he got some insight because Greg Berhalter was so hard the other way on that spectrum that he was texting the guys all the time and, hey, you had a great game on the weekend. I saw this play that you made. Maybe think about it like this. He's always coaching and always having constant...
Who would he have gotten that from? Who would have told him, you know, Berhalter did it this way?
I think
be aware.
I'd say anybody U.S. soccer.
I mean, you're hiring Pochettino because of his experience, you know, his know-how. I don't know if somebody's hiring him and then telling him how to do his job, though. I think.
But isn't there a happy medium? Like, yes, even though he'd heard maybe Berhalter was too close and too personal with them, to go to the other extreme feels a bit much, doesn't it? That there's somewhere in the middle.
100%. Yeah. And to all of our points, this feels very transactional. It feels like corporate and business.
And I go back to what you just said, Charlie, right? You just said that it's a short period of time, right? He gets hired a year and a half ago, was it about? So he's taken over for about 2 years before the World Cup. And I don't know if he's going to be there longer. And there's also the aspect of him being a club coach prior to that and now an international coach. And I think those two things lead to maybe
getting an email. Transactional and corporate. Nothing screams that more than getting an email about your dream. That's crazy.
Well, we're going to see today how he interacts with all the players because obviously the roster is fast approaching. It's the official unveiling. By the way, there was a comment there. I don't know if you boys saw it. Why is a Brit here? Jonathan, I am a dual citizen, so I have my American passport. I'm allowed to join today, I hope.
An American with an accent.
Bit of
There's lots of those.
Okay, so it's Poch getting set for his first World Cup as a manager since the moment he was hired in September 2024. It's been a bit of a whirlwind, all building up, though, to today.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days, but the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here. Now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back into the show. I am Jimmy alongside Charlie and Benny. Poppy's going to be hanging out somewhere else for this one. And these are some upcoming friendlies for the U.S. You got the U.S. taking on Senegal this weekend. That should be a very good game. And then we're taking on Germany. So the big question for you two in particular is, how important will these matches be? Benny, I'll start with you as we try to kind of figure out how we want to play going into the World Cup.
Well, I think it's important because we don't know how we're going to play yet. The last two friendlies were not great, right? They weren't great.
They said, we have good plans, good momentum.
So the formation's a question mark, the personnel's a question mark, the tactics is a question mark. I think these two games are really important for confidence as well, and you want to go into the tournament feeling pretty good about yourself. So I think it's two big games.
I think we were pretty disappointed, Chuck, against the Belgium and Portugal games, or when we were playing against them, that we didn't see some continuity from what we saw at the end of 2025 when it looked like we had the right formation. And not only that, we just missed the opportunity to maybe roll out the same lineup and build some chemistry, I would say, in how we want to move and play. But now we have these two games, and I wonder how much tinkering he's going to do.
I'm not so much concerned with the same lineup as it is a continuation of what we saw from them in terms of tactics and formation. Because for me, whether you call it a back three or a fluid four, he still had three center backs.
Right.
And so whether Anthony Robinson tucked in or you had Alex Freeman or Sergino Dest tucked in, no matter where the ball was, you just had variation, which also led to unpredictability. So for me, I was really entertained by what I saw. When we watched the U.S. men's national team play Uruguay and how fluid that was and exciting and
dynamic.
Dynamic, aggressive.
Competitive as well.
To what we saw against Belgium and Portugal, it was almost as if he discounted everything that had happened on that run up into that window and said, let's go back to the 4-2-3-1 and my initial love for that formation, because that's been my DNA.
It feels like there's something against the back three, though.
Yeah.
Even when they play with the back three, it's like we see it on the screen as a back four, and then you shift into that back three with wing backs.
It like hurts his soul.
If the team is better this way, let's make sure we play it this way.
Yeah. So here are the last 8 results. So I just had it up there on the screen, and it started with South Korea, right? And we were down 2-0 in that game, and then because we were down, we did go back into that back three. We did get some wing backs up, and it just seemed like it unlocked the team. We rolled out that lineup against Japan. We were very good. Won that one 2-0. Ecuador 1-1. Australia 2-1. Paraguay 2-1.
This was obviously an anomaly. Okay, we outplayed them. They didn't come prepared. Fine. But this game to me stood out of the 5 because Paraguay came in with the same expectations of this is a World Cup opponent. We have to win. We got to set the tone. We're not going to change our identity or DNA and shy away from that to try and maybe surprise them in the World Cup. Let's show them what we got, and we matched it. And your guy stood out. This is the game that earned Gio Reyna his spot in the national team.
Yeah, he wasn't getting many minutes for his club, Borussia Mönchengladbach, and obviously had a goal and an assist in that game. Very good performance overall.
And don't forget this game as well, by the way, right? Australia is another game.
Which could have maybe helped Roldan get in the team because he had 2 assists that game. Haji Wright had 2 goals, right? So these ended up being pretty important, I think, to, well, the unofficial roster reveal. We'll get into the official one a little bit later. I guess one of the questions then for you, Benny, is when we play against Senegal is excellent, and Germany is excellent. We had talked before when we saw these last 4 opponents before playing in the World Cup. These are difficult teams, and they're not the same as the opponents we're going to face in the group stage. Should we have maybe scheduled a team where we would be a little bit more on the front foot, could drive the game? Because, hold on, Chuck, I've heard from you already. I want to hear from Benny. Just to give you a chance to maybe break down a low block, because we're going to see that a lot in the first 2 games in particular.
I think there's a case to be made for sure.
Thank you, Benny.
I think look, it's not black and white. It's not black and white. There's a lot of gray, right? I mean, we know soccer is a very tactical sport, and you got to understand who you're going to play against in those 3 group games, and you want to be prepared for that. Of course, you want to play against higher competition as well to give you that confidence, so that not only can you get past the group, but go further into the knockout rounds. But I think there's a valid point to what are we going to see from Australia, Paraguay, and Turkey, and is that the same thing that we're going to see from Senegal and Germany? I don't think so.
No, but we've had 3 years, maybe more, actually, since COVID, of playing the Hondurases of the world, the Mexicos of the world, and the familiar CONCACAF opponents that we've seen.
It's fair.
Over and over and over. Insanity. We're in a home World Cup. Play the best teams you can play.
What about confidence? What if you lose these 2 games and now you're 0-4 going into the World Cup?
Well, guess what? We were 0-2 in the Confederations Cup, and all it took was 1 game.
That's true.
1 game.
1 game changes
One game
around.
can change the entire complexion. And by the way,
and Brazil had to help us too.
No, but by the way, it wasn't that, oh, we're going to change our tactics. It was Bob Bradley saying, let's tinker a little bit with the formation. And for Pochettino, he's been with this squad for a year and a half. He's had some real low moments. That first Nations League, terrible. And some real high moments in the Uruguay game. Just, we talked about the run. Australia, Paraguay, and Uruguay, sure. But finding the right group on that field, making the right adjustments, whether it's the early substitution and not waiting, because we've seen him wait to make changes, but understanding every player and what he can get out of them and how to change the games, given if Australia is going to be high pressing and not sitting back. Same with Paraguay, who are so defensively structured, but maybe they say, hey, let's flip the game upside down. Him being ready for that, as well as the players.
All right, so we put a poll up on the Golazo America YouTube channel. We appreciate everybody that's watching there with us and all the Call It What You Want supporters out there. What are the expectations for the U.S. this summer? We put out a poll, and the leading get was the round of 16. And that's what you said a little bit earlier, Benny, that is pretty much the benchmark. If we get there, satisfied, that's the over-under. Over that, thrilled. Under that, complete disappointment.
Yeah, I think the fans know what they're talking about. First of all, it's a different tournament. It's more teams, and there's an extra round in there in the knockouts. And you look at our group, We're the home team. We have a group that we are conceivably the best team. I know that we lost to Turkey in a friendly not too long ago, but you would expect us to finish first in that group. And if you do, you have a team in the knockout rounds of 32 that you should beat. I don't know who that would be.
Third place team.
Correct. Some third place team that has underachieved in the group game. So, yeah, I think getting past that first knockout game is of massive importance. And then depending what you get into the round of 16, it could be a really top team. It could be a team that you could conceivably beat. But I think that would be the over-under for me.
All right, Chuck, you agree with that?
Yeah, round of 16 is the minimum. And by the way, if we get smashed in the round of 16, it's still a disappointment.
Yeah, that
it's
would
still
be.
a failure.
You want to be
me.
competitive.
You got to at least be competitive. If you catch a Spain, if you caught a top team in the round of 16 and you gave it your all and everyone was there and you said you pushed it to the 90th minute, you gave everyone a chance to believe. We're all going to say, hey, I can live with that.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. I'm going to ask this question because I'd be really curious about this. Would you, if you get to the round of 16, we beat the knockout 32, you're into the round of 16. Would you love seeing a Spain, a Brazil? Because for me, I love that kind of challenge for the U.S. because if you beat that team, and I think it's totally possible, what does that do for this country and everybody here?
I think Belgium is the probably most likely opponent at that stage. If we get by Belgium, which I don't think they're the strongest team, and I know we played them in this March window and we weren't set up in
Might want to mark
our
Doku.
Best way, right? Might want to mark them with at least 2 players. At least. But ultimately, if you did beat them, that's the game. Really, no matter who it is, you get to a quarterfinal on this home World Cup soil, people are going to be absolutely over the moon.
Yeah, I want that. I really, really want that. All right, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, more build up to the roster reveal, so keep it right here.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in 2 worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here now.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And we live the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it? A crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gotta blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back, everybody. So the roster reveal is underway from New York. We've already had Matt Turner announced, Sergino, Dest, Chris Richards, Tyler Adams, Anthony Robinson has just come out. Gio Reyna is making his way out. They're all coming out one by one with their US men's national team shirts to line up. Do you like the way that they're doing it?
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just still wish that they wouldn't have gotten an email. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
So now, from this point on, this is nice. Weston McKennie has just walked out. So much personality, doesn't he have? All the others are coming out, kind of putting their T-shirts in the air, their jerseys, and he's got a little twirl for everybody. You've got to love his personality, Chuck, and his character.
Yeah, I just feel like a proud father when I see Weston McKennie, just because of how far he's come. You know, when we watch these guys who are rocking the jersey and in the locker room, you know, we've been there. So there's just like this familiarity and this brotherhood, right? Mm-hmm. And so I look at these guys as little brothers, and I'm like, man, look how far he's come, maturity-wise, playing in Europe, representing Americans at one of the biggest clubs in the world, at Juventus, and being a guy that's counted on. So, yeah, I'm so happy for Weston, and that's the kind of character you need in a locker room to keep things light, to keep things fun as well.
So true. He's not only a big personality, but he's played all over the pitch, hasn't he, for Juventus this season? We just saw Christian Pulisic come out as well.
I want to jump in on Ricardo Pepi, because Ricardo Pepi was one of the last cuts in 2022. It was a big shock because he had been scoring some goals and getting some momentum, and Greg Berhalter decided to leave him off. And now we just saw him walk on stage for arguably the biggest tournament in World Cup history, and absolutely thrilled for him. Even though I'm not his dad, I'm still kind of a proud dad that he fought through some adversity. Right. It's very similar to what you had said, that if somebody gets snubbed this time around, doesn't mean that their career with the national team is over.
So true. Miles Robinson just came out, and now Tim Ream is walking out, 38 years old. Benny, are you surprised to see Tim Ream part of this roster?
I think Benny thinks he can still play, seeing Tim Ream out there.
No, I think it depends the way that you ask the question, right? If you ask me if I'm surprised that he's on the roster based on what I've seen in the last 4 years, no, he's been part of the team every single camp, and it would be very surprising if he wasn't there. But I think if you asked me 4 years ago after he partook in the last World Cup, you would think he's probably past it at the age of 38, but there he is, still standing tall and a big part of the team.
Yeah, Sebastian Berhalter as well, just come out. Chuck, he's another one that's going to make his World Cup debut this summer.
Man, he's earned it. I called his games his freshman year at North Carolina for the ACC network, and I remember watching him come off the bench in college and seeing how far he's grown, his ability to just tackle, play without fear, his dead ball delivery, set pieces, he's such a weapon. Just one of those guys who who's done all the little things right, because he's not the biggest, he's not the fastest, he's not the strongest, but he has the right mentality and the character, and all the guys in the locker room know that. So well deserved.
Yeah, he reminds me of a little bit old school, right? I think when we were playing in the national team, there weren't a lot of top players in Europe yet, and so we had that extra bite, I think, and Berhalter, and I think Roldan, who I saw walk out there as well. Those two guys are both guys that are there, that are tough and gritty, and I think they bring that to the team a little bit.
What I really like about Berhalter's game in particular is that he's starting to go forward now. Right, he's starting to look forward, either to pass or to run with the ball, and I think that's really unlocked his game in a really positive way. And so, long may that continue, especially in this World Cup.
So true. And Malik Tillman has just come out as well. We saw Brendan Aronson walk out, so they're all starting to come out. Christian Roldan as well, who's been a big talking point, Charlie, about him making the roster. Would he make it? Would he not?
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised, to be honest. Not because it's Christian Roldan and that he doesn't have enough quality, but Berhalter and Roldan, for me, are in the same bucket in terms of player profile. I would have thought, given the roster, you're saying, okay, Tyler Adams is A1. You know, McKennie now it looks like he's going to be playing next to Adams instead of what we thought would have been Johnny Cardoso or Tanner Tessmann, who wasn't included on this roster. So then you said, okay, those guys aren't really going to come off. And Malik Tillman can also drop deeper. So let's go with one of Berhalter or Roldan, and obviously Pochettino opted for both.
When you're thinking about team building, though, Poppy, Roldan in particular plays a specific role. As much as I know he wants to play, if he doesn't, he's not going to have a negative ripple effect amongst the team. And in fact, I think he's going to be a leader that all these other guys trust and respect. So he's almost like somewhat of an assistant coach in some ways, or maybe kind of like a player whisperer. Like if somebody's not doing something right, Roldan will kind of understand and see he's got so much experience, he can be like, hey, I think he means like maybe like this. These are these little details that Chuck's been harping on, which are very, very important, that could maybe unlock a player or a situation that we could solve that in a way that doesn't get us off track.
So true. You've all been talking so much about the chemistry of the group and how important that is, aside from the performances. Haji Wright's just come out, Flo Balogun as well. All has been accurate to the leak so far. So I suppose no surprises with that. Tim Weah has as well just come out. I suppose with Tim Weah, that's an interesting one, isn't it, Charlie? What kind of role are you expecting to see him play this summer?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because when I was watching Timothy Weah progress from the 2022 World Cup, and he was the first player to score from this group against Wales in that World Cup, we've seen him primarily play as a right wing back, at Juve, and then he moved to Marseille, right wing back, sometimes left wing back. But I'll never forget this year, he scored against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu in Champions League as an attacking player, in an attacking midfield role. I looked at Jimmy, I said, the way he just scored there's no way he's not starting for this US Men's national team. And we've been tinkering. Where could he play? He's an absolute game changer because you got to think pace changes games. Yeah. We don't have enough of it. He's an incredible athlete, pace, quickness, timing, but he can score goals and he can defend. He can do both. So to have him on the pitch a little bit higher up the field, knowing he will track back and defend, it's just such a benefit.
I'm wondering when you say that, though, are you talking about in your perspective, or is there no way that he doesn't start at this World Cup factually? Because I'm curious of where you have him starting then. If it's not as a wing-back role, is he playing alongside the forward role? Is he playing as kind of an underneath? Where do you see him actually playing here?
Well, the big question mark is that position right next to Christian Pulisic. Yeah. Because it seems without Tanner Tessmann and no Cardoso, now Weston's going to be playing alongside Tyler Adams in that box. Yeah. So if Christian's there, if you have Timothy Weah in that position, which I don't think he is best suited for coming into the crammed midfield and playing in tight spaces, but what he gives you is counter. What he gives you is counter press. What he gives you is stretching the back line. What he gives you is finding the mismatch with Sergino Dest and being real creative down that right flank. That movement alone, I think, gives him a real edge because he's looking at Zendejas, who I don't think is going to be a starter, Reyna, who's not going to be a starter, doesn't have the strength in his legs to be a starter, especially in the early rounds of the World Cup. So it's between Tillman and Weah. And I think just because he gives you a little bit more with his speed, I was going back with this for a week, thinking, who's going to start here? I think Weah is going to start.
I think what's interesting when we think about the midfield and that box that you're talking about, so you're going to have 2 6s and 2 10s, and your wing backs, Dest and Jedi, are going to give you the width. What I do like about having Weah in that spot, and I'm glad you brought that up, is if Balogun does drop into the space to go find the ball, we need someone who's a threat in behind. Because if you don't have that, then the back line will just continue to inch up and inch up and inch up. Yeah, you got to squeeze you. But if they know that, okay, Balogun comes in and Weah's going to go in behind, now that's going to hold or freeze the back line, and that should, in theory, give more space to Balogun to pick it up and turn. That's a good problem to have. I don't know if Tillman would he can do it, but I don't know if he would do it in the same way that Weah can.
No, not in the same way.
And Benny, just how you would say it. So here's the 2 attacking, the 2 defensive, right? If Weston's this guy, he's naturally, when we have the ball, going to go forward, right? So now these 2 can be a little bit more wide, where they love to find themselves isolated, and that plays right into the strength.
I think it creates a lot of more dynamic movement.
Yes.
I don't know if that's what we're going to see,
Are you hoping to see that?
I mean, I would like to maybe see it in one of these next 2 games.
Yeah.
Let's see what it looks like, right? When you have two players playing in a forward role that can both get in behind the defense. I think, like what you said, naturally it exposes defenses to spread out a little bit more, stay further back, which opens up the pockets in the middle. And if you want to use those wing-back roles to get up and down, you need guys to secure the ball in those pockets like Pulisic, Weah, Balogun, and et cetera. And again, McKennie coming from a deeper role as well to get into the box, I think is extremely dangerous.
Yeah. It's such a good point. It's very defender heavy, isn't it? As we'll see from the full roster here, which we can show you. Chris Brady, Alejandro, Zendejas, Joe Scally and Matt Freese were the other players that just walked out while we were talking. So we've got the defenders, which we know you boys were just talking about, the midfielders, and then the forwards as well. In all, 13 players return now from the team that was in the 2022 roster. The rest of them are first-timers. How do you feel, Jimmy, about that experience overlaps? First of all, do you think that that's a good amount, having over double digits in returning players?
Yeah, 100%. I think you can walk into this tournament, though it's not going to be like for like with what they experienced in Qatar, because you're playing at home and everything is going to be heightened and amplified.
What about the opponents?
The opponents?
Would you compare Iran and Wales to
Yeah, I feel like they
Paraguay
fit into the same. Yeah, they fit in the same category a little bit. And
you would say it's like for like with who they had and who?
Yeah,
I'd say it's very comparable when you're saying, okay, when you're looking at Wales and you're saying Australia, I could see a comparison. Iran and Paraguay in terms of, I can see England is leaps and bounds ahead of where Turkey is. So, in theory,
it's an easier group.
The U.S. have an easier group.
No, it's an easier group, and it's at home. So there's no doubt that the expectations should be higher than it was last time around. And like you said so yourself, Bobby, 13, I think you said, coming back with experience. And so expectations are higher without a doubt.
Yeah, but that experience matters. To answer your question, I mean, knowing that you've gone through this before, I think you walk into your second World Cup going, okay, I have a good idea of how to prepare for this, that maybe I was a little nervous the first time around, and you can share that experience with the other guys.
I talked to Tyler Adams about that. I said, how does it feel going into this World Cup compared to where you were before 2022? And he said, I was kind of like a kid, with my eyes wide open, not knowing what to expect. It was kind of hectic. Now I'm coming in, I know what's in front of me. I'm much more calm in the anticipation of this World Cup.
Good, we're going to need that.
I know,
I know
what is needed. I know what to expect.
Is anybody surprised just with the amount of defenders that were called in particular the centre-backs, compared to the midfield where
Only because Chris Richards has an ankle injury. And so when you see those additional defenders, you think maybe they know a little bit more. I think Joe Scally was the one that was a bit of a surprise for me. We could have maybe elected to go somewhere else, because when you look at our holding midfielders, we're pretty thin.
Yeah.
With Johnny Cardoso's hurt, Tanner Tessmann not getting called in. We get real thin in that area. When Tyler Adams goes out, we don't have any real traditional sixes. Yes, Tillman can do it. McKennie can do it, but that's not their best position. So that makes me a little bit nervous that we maybe elected to go with more defense as opposed to maybe having some more cover in that area.
Because not only Tanner Tessmann was a big talking point, and obviously we'll talk more about this later on, but also Aidan Morris, just with the amount of minutes that he put in. Yes, he had a bit of an injury this season, but he's been pretty consistent, hasn't he? For the midfielders, Sebastian Berhalter, we talked about him coming in as Zendejas. By the way, how do you think Sebastian feels that it's not his dad now? Do you think that that's a bit of a relief that it's not Greg?
Yeah,
in charge
100%.
of the team? Yeah.
The whole nepotism thing, it's easy to go, oh, I'm only getting picked because my dad is the coach. And he's earned, without a doubt, every right to be in this World Cup roster, from his performances in MLS, his consistency, and even with the national team. I've seen a lot more positives than negatives when he's been with the U.S. men's national team. And then in MLS, he's one of the best midfielders in the league.
And I think usually that's the case. Anybody that makes the World Cup roster has usually earned it, right? I think we talk about the roster coming out and some of the snubs, so to speak, but anybody that you take out of this roster, you could probably make a case for, man, he's made it. And so with Berhalter, I think not only has he earned it, but it just takes away that aspect, that kind of hate aspect of oh, he's only there because
there's
of someone
only
else.
one guy who thinks or one player in that roster that Jimmy thinks has not earned the right to be there.
We're going to get to find out.
I think so.
We're going to talk about him.
I think so.
Just by the way, Benny, did you play with Michael Bradley when Bob Bradley was there?
Yeah,
How
same.
was that?
We all did.
Yeah. Oh, you all did. What was that
and I
like?
think, and look, I think it was for. I can't speak for Michael, but I can only imagine that if I put myself in his place, how much he had to, try and play through certain ideas that people had that he was there because of Bob. But there's a reason why he's one of the best players in national team history, because he kept pursuing that excellence. He was great under Bob. He was great under Jurgen after that. So I think that quieted down very quickly because of his performances.
And I'd also add, the dynamic of your teammates doing things and you potentially looking at, looked at as a snitch, right? And how do you navigate that? So for Michael Bradley to do all of that, continue on, succeed at the club level in Europe, he was phenomenal in Holland, got his move to the Bundesliga, was a consistent player in the Bundesliga.
Serie A.
But with the national team, he always showed up. And eventually, if there were doubts in the beginning, those doubts were silenced real quick because his performances, he was massive.
Could you play for your dad? My dad would just tell jokes the whole time, and we could never get anything done. It wouldn't be that serious. Yeah, my dad.
It wouldn't be as serious?
No, he would just make us laugh.
I think in youth soccer, I could play for my dad. I always had, him telling me at halftime, hey, this is something that you could do or whatever. But I think as a pro, man, that'd be tough. It's hard enough to be a pro as it is, with people talking in the background as to, oh, your dad's a coach and this and that. I think it'd be tough. So
they did it really well.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being, the son of a national team coach and being on the team.
Well, how do you think your son feels, Charlie? Because Jeremy here says, Chuck, you start your son every weekend.
I do.
Nepotism. Nepotism in Boston, huh?
Nepotism is on full display.
Yeah, well,
hey, man, let the other kids play a little bit, Chuck.
I do.
You got quick on that
any
one.
parent that sees me coach knows I don't play those games. I go with.
You sub your son out sometimes?
100%.
All right, good. Good for you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
See how long that continues.
I say, everybody, you've got to earn it. You got to earn your playing time.
So you want players that earn their playing time.
Obviously, they're kids.
Interesting.
So you got to, I'm all about encouragement, positive encouragement. And this isn't professional. Like youth, you're trying to grow them, challenge them. But I don't give preferential treatment.
I love it. I'm right there with you. I got a son of my own and a daughter. I don't coach my daughter, but a little bit of my son. And you're not playing well, come sit next to me.
Yeah. Yep. It is hard, though, because maybe you're even harsher on them than you would be.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, same.
The expectations are higher.
Okay, stay with us, everybody. Loads more to come in just a second. We're going to dive deeper into this roster and some of the surprises that we're seeing as well in Pochettino's side.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others, but they're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount+.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount+.
I lost my dad in my hand.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gotta blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount+.
I was the kid that shouldn't have made it.
Texas kid on the field.
Kid from Nacogdoches, Texas. Knack of nowhere, some people would say. I probably rubbed people the wrong way. Because I didn't give a shit what people thought about me. Kind of one of those things I wasn't going to be denied.
When Clint looks at you, he looks like he wants to kill you. And I have respect for that.
He did not hold back.
That hurt from here.
The man's going to have the last word.
What's he saying?
You don't know where I'm from, dog.
Where are you from, dog?
I'm from the oldest town in Texas, Nacogdoches, where I'm from. Okay.
He had to kind of claw his way to every opportunity in ways that maybe other kids didn't have to.
I feel like everyone has their time. When Clint came on the scene, it was Clint's time.
Dempsey will try and chip one. Wonderful!
He had this personal belief that he was going to make it no matter what.
Clint's the guy now. It's almost like plucked out of a Greek tragedy.
He had to create a narrative that people were against him. Sometimes that was me.
You're the soccer player.
Now you're the soccer player.
All he really ever wanted to do was win. He wanted it so bad.
Had Clint been any different, we wouldn't be here talking about him, talking about the legend that he is. He had to be himself.
Dempsey, who else? Dempsey! Astonishing!
My mentality is make those play you. Make them play you.
Oh, you don't know where I'm from, dog is now exclusively streaming for you on Paramount+. The 5-part series is a comprehensive look at the life and career of the American soccer legend Clint Dempsey. It traces his dramatic and improbable journey from Texas to starring for the US men's national team in the World Cup. And speaking of the World Cup, all summer long we're going to have you covered with wall-to-wall coverage right here on the Golazo Network. We're going to be live for the World Cup, starting from the opening to the final trophy lift. Our 48 Nations coverage will offer up to 12 hours of daily World Cup programming to keep you up to date and prepared for every single game. And we won't just be here in the studio. Nico is hitting the road and going coast to coast. He's going to be all over the US in an RV for 41 days with fans, attending matches and learning all about the soccer culture throughout the country. So make sure you keep an eye out for his RV traveling down the highway.
Oh yeah, he's coming to Boston. He's going to come meet me in Boston.
Are you going to join him for a bit?
I am.
He's coming to KC, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Did you get the invite, Benny?
I didn't get one either.
He didn't tell me he was going there, so he can't come to my house. But.
Yeah, he's not allowed.
Well, he's got to make some friends along the way, because I'm sure he's going to want to get out that RV for a bit. We've got loads more to come. Everybody, in just a second, we'll bring you what we just saw with the official roster release from New York next.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days, with the entire nation hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion!
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
people will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here. Now.
Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt. What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back, everybody, to our Call It What You Want special. So 26 players have been announced for the US men's national team for the 2026 World Cup squad this summer, and it is as reported. We're going to discuss position by position in just a second. But first, let's hear the thoughts and reaction from Nico Cantor and the great Tony Meola.
Again, it's an honor and a privilege to be here at a World Cup roster drop with a three-time World Cup veteran and a legend like yourself. Tony, how you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. This is so cool. It just kind of shows where the sport has come, right? Everyone keeps asking, how did you find out? I'm like, I think a pigeon dropped a note off when we were,
Bora wrote it on a scroll.
I literally think Bora, we were in a room and he said, yes, no, yes, no, like this is incredible. And I've been saying to the guys, right, we've been on Call It What You Want forever. Man, I can't wait till we get to this day. Like, we finally know who's here, like, who am I rooting for, who Pochettino likes. And I know there's discussion about who's here and who's not here and all of that stuff. And there always will be, right? It doesn't matter who Pochettino picks. It doesn't matter who Pochettino starts, right? We're going to say, oh, this guy should have started. This guy should have started. It's just the way the game is. But, man, now that we know, like, I'm fully behind the group. Like, that's just who I am. I'm a team guy, and this is the group I'm going to root for.
Nice. That's awesome. Tony, I was listening to Call It What You Want from a couple of days ago. You weren't on, but Charlie and Jimmy, it seemed like they had inside information on the goalkeepers. On their 26, they had put Diego Cocha. Now we know he's not going to the World Cup. How do you feel about this list?
Yeah, I like it. I like that we have a young goalkeeper. What I think I like the most about this list is Matt Turner is playing really well at his club right now. He's been one of the best goalkeepers in MLS. So I think we all are assuming that Matt Freese is the guy, right? Yeah. And has earned the position, has done well with his club. But, man, if you ever have to call on somebody, like, you're going to call on a guy, one, that's confident right now, and two, that has World Cup experience. And I don't, having been in that position, the first World Cup is always hard. I'm lucky that the first World Cup wasn't at home. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Matt Freese for your first World Cup to be at home. It's, for any of these guys that are going through it for the first time, the home thing is just another complete different layer, right? Especially where the sport is now compared to where it was in '94. In '94, I felt like everyone was just rooting for us. Everyone was rooting for us. It didn't matter where you turned, they wanted to see the U.S. do well, right? Now there's a little bit of expectation on this group. I have an expectation for the group, and I think a lot of fans have an expectation based on who this group is and how much they've done over the last couple of years.
One of the headlines of this squad is that it's Diego Luna out, Gio Reyna in. How do you feel about that?
I'm sad for Diego Luna. I personally think it's more Alex Zendejas is in compared to Diego Luna being in. I think the choice was more about those two players because I always thought Gio was going to be in. When your manager comes out and say, look, there's special cases. Some guys aren't playing at their club, but I think they can offer something to the team. I think I looked at that and said, put him on the ticket, right? But I think that it was Zendejas playing as well as he's playing at Club America compared to Diego Luna, who right now is a little bit injured, maybe a little bit of uncertainty. So I didn't see it as Reyna. Luna, I saw it as Zendejas and Luna.
I'm curious about those special cases type of things because Diego Luna, I feel like he represented something that Poch wanted to see in these players for so long. You know, the broken nose moment. He even goes out and says, look how this guy plays with balls. It felt like he symbolized a lot of the culture change that Pochettino was looking for. But then you have a guy like Gio Reyna who's playing very little, who does make the squad. How do you explain that inconsistency in the way that Poch went about it?
I go back to Pochettino and what he said about their special cases. This is your special case. If you have 2 or 3 or 4 special cases, then you start to question a little bit. I feel for Diego Luna. He didn't make the Olympic team when everybody thought he should make that team. Doesn't make this team where a lot of people thought he should make this team. It's a tough pill to swallow. I hope for his sake he uses it as motivation. I don't think this is the last we've seen of Diego Luna with the national team. But it's clear that Pochettino thinks that other guys, and we're looking at Luna as a bench player, I think. I think most people are looking at him as a guy that would come off the bench and give a spark. I think, well, we know now that Pochettino clearly has different ideas.
Yeah. All right, Tone. Thank you for your insight.
Man.
It was good seeing you.
Yeah. I can't wait to be on the caravan tour with you. What are we?
Come with.
Oh man, right? We're like the final somewhere around.
Yeah, around New Jersey.
That's right. Great
so
state
coast
of New
to
Jersey.
coast, he's going to be on one of the coasts. Tony Viola. Back to you guys.
Everybody's so excited about the RV. By the way, Charlie, you work with Nico the most. How much trivia do you think Nico is going to ask this summer?
Ooh, I love trivia.
Trivia
Benny,
every day.
if you love trivia, you don't love it more than Nico.
We did it when I was here for Open Cup one time, and
I'm sure.
I can't say I was bad at it. I was pretty good at it.
Yeah, I love trivia. So I'm always telling Nico, go ahead. Go as deep as you want. I'm ready to go. So he loves researching. He loves research. So he's coming up. He'll have 20 pop quiz questions ready to go every day.
An hour, I think.
Every day, but it depends. It depends like where he's at. If you're hitting every question out of the park, then he's gonna go deeper.
Bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, he's gonna go. Okay, I got.
Sounds like there should be a game show on the Golazo Network.
Let's go.
Honestly, there should be. He can channel all of his trivia energy into a new show. I like it. On the RV.
No whammies.
Okay, let's talk about all these positions then one by one. We're going to start with the goalkeepers because Tone's just mentioned it there as well. Matt Freese and Matt Turner both playing really well, as they mentioned. Who are you all going with as the #1 goalkeeper this summer to start?
Me or what Mauricio Pochettino is going to do?
Both.
Okay. I'd still probably go with Matt Freese. He's the one that's been getting the most reps, the most trust, and I think he's had some valuable repetitions with that back line in front of him. Obviously, it didn't look good for either goalkeeper in the Belgium and Portugal games. You know, they can only do so much, obviously, trying to block the opportunities that came their way. But I think Matt Freese has done enough to be our #1. Though I'm glad, because there were some reports early on that we were hearing that maybe Matt Turner wouldn't be involved because Mauricio Pochettino didn't want to have to choose between a 1A or 1B to have that pressure. But I'm glad that Matt Turner's there because he's the only goalkeeper that has World Cup experience.
Matt Turner, by the way, came out with the #1 on his jersey for the reveal today. Can we read too much into that, or is that just because he maybe had it from before?
Yeah, I don't think you read too much into it. And going back, I think Matt Freese is probably the #1, like you said. But I'd take a page out of, I've been watching a lot of hockey right now in the playoffs, and they are not afraid to take one goalie out and put another one in if things aren't looking great. I think with Matt Turner as the #2, you got to have that mindset where Matt Freese has, a mess up in one of the games and you need another guy in the second game to give you a little bit more confidence. I think you got to be willing to make that change if necessary.
But
so similar to your striker.
Do you like the fact that somebody's so close to you? Does it make you feel like you're mistaken your out?
I don't understand why goalkeepers get a different way about them than the field players. You're not playing well. You're going to get subbed out. I think goalies have to have the same mindset.
They're different in general, right? Like with their keepers, right? They're not really field players.
We got to toughen them up a little bit, though.
But I think if I was putting on my coaching hat, I'd want 1A, 1B, and 1C.
Sure.
I don't want 1A, 2D, 3D.
Why are you even bringing these guys in?
I want that 2002 lineup. Give me Brad Friedel, Casey Keller, and Tony Miola. All Hall of Famers, all top of their game. That's the type of goalkeeper I'd want and the depth that I want in that position. But to your point, I could see a coach saying, you know what, I want to go with the hot hand. Whoever the hot keeper is, whoever's in form versus this is who I'm bringing every time. Mm-hmm. But I'd love to hear from you, Jimmy, in terms of the center back and your back line, continuity with your keeper, knowing, does he want me to drop, knowing, I'll shield him, knowing he's going to come out, or I can flick it back, knowing my keeper's not going to be glued to his line, who might be nervous, not having the experience, so they're going to be tighter to their goal versus being a little bit loose and adventurous, knowing that, hey, I need to come out and make some big-time stops, and I'm not going to be afraid to leave my goal.
Well, some of it's opponent-based. So if you know, let's say against Paraguay, that maybe we'll play a little bit of a higher line because we know we're going to probably have more of the ball on paper, and they're going to try to hit us on counters. Okay, we're going to maybe try to have I'd say higher line, but a smart line where we're not too deep, we're not too high, giving ourselves the necessary cushion. If that ball goes up over the top, which one of those goalkeepers is going to be better positioned and more confident to make that play to help us out of those situations? That's something I would want to know. If we're playing against an opponent that likes to hit in a lot of crosses, which one is better off of his line to come out and solve those problems? I always love the goalkeeper that would really get you out of those situations. Come and grab it.
Yes.
When you're trying to hold everybody popping and you're trying to go up for it, and all of a sudden your goalkeeper just comes in with their Superman cape and kind of saves the day. I loved playing with those and had the presence and aura to solve problems and give you good communication.
This is my box and I'm taking care of it.
And not just yelling to yell either, right? I'll leave them nameless, but there's some goalkeepers that you play with that just yell to yell, right? So, it's kind of for the cameras, for the coaches, but it's not really giving me anything specific. So which one's the better communicator?
Mm-hmm. Just by the way as well, Matt Freese, thank you for tweeting in or sending in a message on YouTube. Apparently likes his number, so that's apparently
what's his number?
Matt Turner has the number.
Matt Freese's number?
What number is he?
Is it the same one that he wears at NYC?
Could you tweet in and let us know what it is?
Number 10.
It's 1 through 26. So.
True. Take your pick.
I'm curious because if you're the coach of Pochettino, given who we are playing, Australia and Paraguay in particular, your first two matches, Paraguay, we've seen how they play. Very direct. They'll play into the channels. Not your typical, we're going to dominate possession in the attacking third. Same thing with Australia. Very counterattack heavy, very direct in transition. There's not a build-up.
Trying to score on a set piece. Right, that's another thing
too.
So
who would you favor just off of that without any prior knowledge heading into this?
That's tough. I give a lot of value to World Cup experience, so I feel like there's something there for Matt Turner. But when I think about how much trust that Mauricio Pochettino has given Matt Freese and the repetitions against, let's say, Paraguay. He played against Paraguay, and they actually scored a goal that I thought is going to be, I don't know, kind of a stereotypical Paraguay goal under Gustavo Alfaro. Like, they are trying to get in the channel. They sprung Miguel Almiron out wide. They whipped the ball into the box, and we got beat to the near post. And maybe Matt Freese could have had different positioning in that one. He got a hand on it, but I remember he couldn't get all of it. And we talked about it afterwards. Could he have done a little bit better? He can learn from that. Matt Turner didn't have that same experience. I'm not going to answer your question directly because I don't know for sure as to which one's going to be the better fit.
No, isn't it, to have two that are potentially going to be
ultimately
that could go either way.
You can make a narrative for both.
Yeah,
let's talk about the
Thanks, buddy. Bobbing and weaving.
Defenders. Who's going to be the back line from this list? Who do you think Pochettino's going to go with? Because this is the deepest position that we see on this roster. Benny, why don't you go first?
Well, when we start on this position, my biggest curiosity and why I have a little bit of a struggle to get the names other than Chris Richards is how many guys are we going to have back there? Is it going to be 3 or 2, right? And we've talked about this at length before the show, during the show. I think it's Chris Richards +2 at this point. What I would think is you probably, if you're going to bring Tim Ream, He's probably playing this first game, I think, on the left side of Chris Richards. And then who's playing on the right side? I mean, it could be Freeman, it could be McKenzie. I'm probably gravitating towards Freeman because in some of the best games that we've seen, him and Dest kind of taking care of that right side together. So that's who I would lean in that back three, with Dest on the right side as a wing back and on the left side, Jedi Robinson.
Yeah, I'm with Benny. We know that Pochettino is a creature of habit. And I don't think he's going to not play Tim Ream. Even though Tim Ream's not in the best of form, has struggled as of late with the U.S. men's national team, and he's dealt with some injuries as of late. So I think we're going to see Ream starting in a left center back role in a back three with Richards in the middle, and I think we're going to see Freeman in that right center back role, because when they do shift, Freeman can play right back and Dest can be a little bit higher up the pitch, which we've seen in some of these friendlies. So I do think we'll see Anthony Robinson as a left wing back and Sergino Dest as a right wing back. So that, to me, I understand that's where he would go. I think the only change that I would make would probably put in McKenzie, Mark McKenzie, in that left center back role, because think about the opponents we're playing. The opponents we're playing. They play on the counter. They play direct. You need a little bit more athleticism and pace and cover. Mark McKenzie provides that, whereas Tim Ream just doesn't have the legs.
Sure, but with a back three, you would think that somebody can cover that athleticism aspect from Ream.
That's where they've been targeting our team.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I'm just making the counterpoint in regards to the number of players that they might put back there. But yeah, it seems like if you think about Tim Ream, take away maybe the leadership and the experience, I don't know if he's a Mark McKenzie right now. Mark McKenzie is playing at a higher level than Tim Ream is, and probably the majority of those players at the center back role, Trusty as well. And so it'll be interesting. I would still love to see these next two games against Senegal and Germany not only be games that you can kind of find the cohesion between the starting 11, but also let's see who's at the best in best form and who deserves to get a starting nod.
I agree with you guys on that back five, ultimately. There seems to be a refusal from Mauricio Pochettino to acknowledge that it's a back three. So I assume...
Don't you dare say it's a back three.
No, it's going to be a back... It'll be written down as a back four. You'll have Jedi on the left. You'll have...
Why does he not like that?
I don't know. Ream and Richards as center backs. And then he'll put Freeman as the right back. Dest it'll be almost like a 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1. And then Pulisic will be wide left, and then you have Dest there. But as in build up, it'll just move and shift. So I'm interested. I guess the one big question for me is if he names Tim Ream as captain, you have to start your captain.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious as to who he makes for his captain selection.
Start him as captain over Tyler Adams or Christian Pulisic?
Definitely Tyler Adams over Christian Pulisic. For me, I'm more of the farther back you go, you get to see the whole field, you get to lead in a different way. And Tyler Adams is our captain in 2022. He seems like a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, think about how he handled some of the media.
No, and I think if that's the case, if Tim Ream is maybe a starter, maybe not a starter, and that's the case for Pochettino in his brain, then he's going to make Tyler Adams the captain, which I think naturally is the right decision anyways.
Right.
Okay, really interesting. I'm just hearing as well, Pochettino said that he feels like they've got just the right balance at the back and enough to cover for the midfield, which we'll talk about after the break. Stay with us.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here now.
Open your eyes. Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it? The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back, everybody, to Call It What You Want. So we've gone through the goalkeepers, the defenders. This is the midfielders, including Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, who's had a super season for Juventus, even though it ended disappointingly for the Bianconeri. Sebastian Berhalter in there, as well as Gio Reyna, who we'll get to in just a little bit. But let's talk about who we think will be in the starting lineup come match day one. Who are you going for, Chuck?
Oh, thank you, Poppy.
Potato over there.
What I love about this midfield in seeing how Pochettino essentially shaped it, because he had been tinkering how he wanted this midfield to look. But I think injuries to Cardoso maybe threw a wrench, because remember, Cardoso hadn't had a good performance with the U.S. men's national team until his last friendly, but even so, that was just 45 minutes. He was taking care of business at the Atletico Madrid Champions League level, but not with the U.S. But I think Pochettino really thought, okay, he could get there. Tessmann struggled towards the end of the season, got fit, but ultimately ruled out by Pochettino, not including him. So I think it's Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams. Lock it up. That's the midfield pairing, which is funny because Berhalter had that as well. We don't have a Yunus Musa, but those two are there. And then Christian Pulisic and Weah are in front of those two. I think Berhalter and Roldan are great pieces to come in if you need to shore up the midfield. You got a lead that you're trying to protect. You need to add another midfielder because an opponent has been outnumbering you there.
So who are you going with McKennie and Tyler Adams then? Who's the third?
It's Pulisic.
Well, it's technically four. It's like a box midfield when we are in possession. But Tillman, Zendejas, and Reyna are the three players that are battling with Timothy Weah for that attacking midfield role. Now, I would have said Malik Tillman after that Gold Cup. Lock him in as a starter because Pochettino was talking about his growth and his impact and what a special player he has, some of the qualities that he has. But I think he's had an underwhelming season at Leverkusen. And I don't want to blame him because obviously Erik ten Hag comes in, he's playing, he's scoring, and then ten Hag sacked. The team wasn't doing well, but we've seen his input kind of diminish a little bit and his impact in terms of goals and assists. So I do think we'll see Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie at the base of that midfield, and that gives them great flexibility.
Which maybe is the concern that a lot of fans have, right, Jimmy? The fact that Tyler Adams is maybe the one that you need so crucially, and if anything is to happen to him, who comes in as the depth to replace him?
Yeah, that's why I'm still pretty surprised that Tanner Tessmann is not involved. Obviously, we heard that a couple days ago when the unofficial leak came out, or I guess the official leak. But
Jimmy, he doesn't do what Tyler does.
No, he doesn't. But I think what I really liked about Tessmann's game is that he would sit and that would allow Tyler to hunt. Tyler is so good at hunting the ball. And now you're asking him to be the one that sits. He can do that job.
Can somebody else do that job? That would be the wrinkle that I would put to the starting four there that you put. Is it possible that it's Tyler Adams and not McKennie? And McKennie's going to play in that higher up role next to Pulisic? Who is that guy that could do it? Is it
Sebastian Berhalter? He likes to hunt too.
I know.
So,
I would say
you're asking someone
could do that job, but is Roldan going to start in the World Cup?
I would say no.
So then there's no one that can do that role. Is what you're saying?
Because you're leaving the two guys out. We're going to throw Aiden Morris in this one
Which
too.
is why Weston is there. You're going with your best possible players, right? You want to figure out a way to get your most talented players on the pitch.
Right.
So yes and no. I think it's how the pieces fit together.
But that's a position Weston has played
for sure
for most of his career.
Correct.
So naturally, you're saying, hey, defensively, come back a little bit. I know you like to be adventurous when we win the ball, but come back, sit with Tyler Adams, clog up the midfield, and then when we win the ball, go forward. You have the freedom to go forward, and I think that's what we're going to see.
No, and I think that'll work against the Paraguay and Australia because they're going to be absorbing that type of pressure from us. But I just feel like when I watch Tyler play, especially with Bournemouth, he loves to hunt. Right, he scored a great goal hunting when he chipped the goalkeeper from midfield because he got himself in an advanced position, won the ball, and chipped. I love Tyler like that, but you need that discipline from that next player. Weston can do the job, there's no question, but it's not what he is best at. He wants to get forward and join the attack as well. So I just feel like it's a big miss not to have a Tessmann or an Aiden Morris or someone or Johnny Cardoso, who's obviously hurt, that can just sit in that hole a little bit and let Tyler be his best version of himself.
So true. That seems to be the biggest talking point, doesn't it, when it comes to the midfield and how does the balance fit for the forwards? On the other hand, Christian Pulisic, even though his end of his domestic campaign has been really disappointing with Milan, he is still the first name on the team sheet, isn't he, Benny?
No. I think Flo is actually. Balogun is the number one. I think he's the 9. I think it starts with him. I think, of course, Pulisic has been the name with, synonymous with the U.S. national team for, I think, 8 years now it's been, plus. But I do think that, I brought this up before, I think that Pulisic's form plays a part in how he's utilized. Now, do we all think he's going to be a starter? Yes, I think he's going to be a starter as well. But I don't think it's inconceivable that we see Pulisic play a slightly different role. So Balogun is for sure the 9. And
different role in terms of what?
I mean, honestly, maybe this is an enormous hot take, but I could see him being a guy that comes off the bench in times and being phenomenal.
That is a hot take.
You take, and look, hear me out. I'm not saying that this is what I do either, right? And I don't think it's going to happen. But Pulisic has had a difficult 6 months. Would you not agree? In many ways.
Turn on the AC.
Follow me here.
I'm listening.
Yes. Is it possible that you see the best version of him if you take a little bit of weight off his shoulders? Now, I don't think it's going to happen. But I do think that it's possible that it could be a blessing in disguise. I don't think we're ever going to get that. But I think it would be worthwhile even attempting it potentially.
Benny, welcome to the show. It's been 83 minutes and we finally getting into some fun stuff.
He has come off the bench for Milan and he still hasn't
That's true.
scored.
Yeah,
so
I guess that's
when
true.
The weight is off his shoulders.
We got to find a way to unlock him. That's where my
They did. They tried to start him against Portugal up top.
Benny, it's the same thing as if Clint Dempsey and Landon Donovan weren't in form. Are they going to be on the bench for us?
Oof. That's a tough one.
Never.
I feel like Clint and Landon.
You leave them off the World Cup roster in 2014.
Did they?
Of course they did.
Call Clint right now. I want to hear him say that.
Clint, there was times where Clint wasn't starting at Fulham. There was times where Clint wasn't starting at Tottenham. You going to tell me he's going to come into the camp and be on the bench? By the way, I pray for the coach when he tell him, hey, Clint, you're on the bench today. I pray for you. Christian is a starter. And there's no doubt.
How do we unlock him, though? That's the question, Charlie.
That is the question. And that's on Pochettino to figure out what is the best role for Christian in this World Cup. Is it getting him isolated out wide? Because, again, for me, when he's playing centrally and he's around 3-4 bodies, all that happens is him getting physically assaulted.
Fouled a lot,
he gets absolutely crushed.
And that's going to happen, right? Australia, Paraguay, they're going to do that to him.
100%. I think for Christian, when he's at his best, is when he gets into space and he's running at one player. Get him 1v1, or he's making a run in behind, and the timing's there. So for me, these two friendlies, it's going to be so important to get him back on track. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's one goal against Senegal or Germany that gets him in that mood, in the vibe. By the way, playing with your brothers, I would expect Balogun and Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie also to play to his strengths. They know him. So when you have that understanding, you come back into a camp, things weren't always going well for us in Europe when we came back to the U.S. camp. But all of a sudden, something clicked.
Yeah. And I think this is a perfect opportunity as well. And I've talked about this sometimes as well, where he hasn't had the success at the club level and even at the international level in the last 6 months, but it's a clean slate. It's the World Cup.
Yep.
Who cares what happened at Milan? Who cares what's happened in the last 6 to 12 months?
Benny,
it's at home.
Is it a clean slate when he said no to going to the Gold Cup and now there is more pressure on him? Do you think that people truly feel like, okay, let's just
I don't think it matters what people think. I think it matters what's in between his ears.
Do you think he feels the pressure?
I hope so. I hope that, well, I don't know if I want him to feel the pressure. I hope that he feels that this is a massive opportunity for him to showcase, make himself legendary within the national team setup, like a Clint Dempsey, like a Landon Donovan.
That's what's needed with Christian. He's had this stellar club career, played at the biggest clubs in the world. No U.S. men's national team player has ever done that. But he hasn't done what Landon and Clint have done on the World Cup stage yet.
Well, there's also a consistency. I'm glad you brought up the word yet. There's a consistency that Landon and Clint had. He scored the big goal against Iran that got us into the knockout rounds in 2022. The challenge is, can you do it again? But I find, and I loved your talk about where he finds space. My favorite goal that he was involved in under Pochettino was the goal against Japan, the second goal. He finds the ball in a pocket of space, not necessarily out wide, but in between the lines, the midfield and the defensive line. He gets it, and he catches it on the half turn for all you soccer nerds out there, and then he changes his speed. Balogun makes a great run in behind. He slots him in, and we get a good goal. That's what we're going to need. We need to see more of that, because if we don't put him up high, which I don't think he's best at, I want him to catch it on the half turn and, to your point, run at people, then that's when we get so much more dynamic in the attack. And then if you add Balogun making that run and say that run isn't on, then you have your secondary run. Maybe it's a Weston McKennie drop or coming in a little bit later, or somebody coming in wide, and that's where we're really going to hurt teams consistently. Now, teams are going to try to take that away, so then the challenge becomes for Christian, how do we find that next pocket of space for you to get there? And that's a whole nother level of sophistication and tactics.
And Poppy, I'm glad you brought up the Gold Cup, because whether Christian played in it or didn't play in it, the pressure still remains the same. Nothing changes for him walking into the World Cup. The pressure's on his shoulders to deliver because he has that special quality.
Doesn't it change in the fact that his reasoning for not playing in the Gold Cup was to be fitter for the domestic campaign and to be in perfect prime position for the World Cup? I think we can all
everybody's
agree
dream.
that it hasn't panned out that way, though,
Well,
the second half of this Milan season.
100%, but I'd also add, how did Allegri do at Milan? How was everyone's form at Milan?
Right.
He absolutely tanked that club. He's a terrible manager. when we're talking about
Scudettos does he have?
we're talking about proper football and attacking.
Got him.
Absolutely tanked Milan. They're not even in the Champions League.
He's more defensive.
He played a terrible style for Milan, and his frame of reference was, I'm doing this because this is what guarantees Champions League football. I have to play this way to do it, and he didn't. It's a complete failure. So much so that it took him out of form.
Allegri's shoulders, surely.
I'm going to put a lot on it.
You've got to put some on Christian's,
yeah,
right?
But then look at the rest of the team. Who did excel at Milan? Name me one player that had a successful season.
I mean, it's true. I'm not disagreeing with anything.
It's
he
just
is more
not.
defensively sound.
There are times where you have a coach that plays negative football and it impacts the whole side. Now, I don't want to take blame off of Christian saying, hey, just because your coach sucked, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have done better. Mm-hmm. He would raise his hand and say, yeah, I should have done a lot better. I should have scored more goals, or at least scored a goal, right? At the end of the day, he's coming into a World Cup, into a team that he should be leading it from an attacking standpoint. And a lot of pressure and a lot of the opportunities are going to come off of his foot. He needs to deliver now. So you can wipe all of last season, wipe it out of your mind, because you have everything to play for in front of you.
I think what's interesting is a general comment here, and this pertains to Christian as well. Now that the roster's been named, because when I was on the World Cup team and played those friendlies after the fact, it just was a different atmosphere and almost unlocked the whole team. And I wondered, because everybody relaxed, we're on the team now, and now let's just go out and play. Now we're competing just for who can get minutes. And that changed, I thought, the collective vibe and energy around the team. Everybody's so excited. This is us. This is the team moving forward. And I wonder if that unlocks Christian a little bit.
Well, I think it needs to, and it's kind of like what you talked about. How do you forget about what his season was, Allegri, AC Milan, whatever? How do you get the best version of Christian Pulisic? I think that's massive for Pochettino to figure out. And like you said, his teammates. His teammates know that he's one of the most important players on his team, if not the most important player, and you need him playing at his highest level. So I think not only from a mental standpoint, like we talked about his decisions in the past, but a mental standpoint, emotionally, and then on the field, we got to see some better performances from him.
I think Pochettino better pick up the phone and call Stefano Pioli and Paulo Fonseca, because those two managers got the best out of Christian Pulisic, especially with Fonseca when Christian was up for potentially Serie A Player of the Year. He was that good. And he was showing as every time he got on the ball, he was creating something. There was something you could expect. There was an excitement. You could tell the joy is gone from his game as of late.
It's so true, and he said he wasn't playing in his favoured position, and it collectively was such a disappointment, wasn't it, for Milan at the end of the season?
Pochettino doesn't do calls, he does emails.
That's true.
Email's fine. Do it. Get it done.
Okay, stay with us, everybody. Loads more reactions still to come for the US men's national team. We'll take you back over to Pier 17 as well next with Nico Cantor and Marcelo Balboa.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days, with the entire nation hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it? Tell me, can you handle it? The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
So just 16 days to go until the World Cup. Here is the official US men's national team squad roster for the big tournament this summer. And here is Nico Cantor with Marcelo Balboa.
What a privilege to be talking to a three-time World Cup veteran with the U.S. and part of our coverage with CBS Sports Golazo with us, Marcelo Balboa.
Yes,
Marcelo,
sir.
how you feeling?
I'm good, man. You know what? I'm excited when we're in New York. And look behind us. I mean, we didn't have any of this. Back in the old days, it was, yeah, I think you're going to make the World Cup team. Oh, thanks, coach. So, you know what I mean? We didn't get emails. So this is probably one of the most exciting things for us.
I feel like Bora or Steve was a little bit harsher than this.
You know what? Each coach was different. Bob Ganser didn't have a big pool to pick from in 90. 94, it was harder because you saw guys on the beach. You saw Bora shake their hand and you knew they were gone. You know, in 98, you know, I'm not sure if I was, and I was going to say, I wasn't sure if I wanted to make the team or I was going to get cut. I didn't know it was Steve Sampson. Then finally he told us at the end that that we were going to be on the World Cup team. But it was different times because it wasn't an email. It wasn't a big production yet, you know what I mean? So I think this is, you're just keeping up with the rest of the world. How's that?
So we got the big production. We know the list.
Yes.
And first and foremost, before we get to the defenders, your level of expertise, I think the headline is that Gio makes the squad and Diego Luna doesn't.
Yeah, you know, I think when you look at what we've seen over the years with Reyna, what we know he can do, I think that's why you're seeing him if I'm a coach, I'm looking at a guy that can play in tight spaces because this low block, you know they're going to drop in. So you look at someone like Reyna that can break that low block with a pass, with a dribble. Luna's that hard-working guy. He's going to just fight and scratch and hit people for you. So I think when you're a coach, you got to find out what you feel could help you in the long run. And I think in this point, if it's true, this whole list that came out, I think he's looking at players that can play in tighter spaces.
Yeah, so the thing about Diego is that Luna kind of symbolized something that Pochettino wanted to get out of these players. The hustle, the fight.
100%.
All the way to the end, knife between the teeth kind of mentality, and in the end he doesn't end up taking him. Do you feel that there's some sort of contradiction there?
Listen, I think when you get a player, you say things, that's what you're looking for, and little by little you're that player or you start seeing things that just aren't quite what he wanted to see. But look what he says about Roldan. That's the ideal player of where you start from. So I think it's a well-balanced player like Roldan. He's hard-working, but he's also very good on the ball. So I think coaches will go back and forth at the moment, but at the same time, I could have easily said he was one of my locks about 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, as of 2 months ago with you guys, I had him off the list because I had Zendejas. I like Zendejas because of the way, what he's doing at Club America, what he's doing in Mexico. When he gets on the ball, he's not afraid to go up players one-on-one on the side, and I think that's what we need.
All right, let's go to the back line. Tim Ream, our most experienced player when it comes to age. Pairing in a three-man back line, we would imagine, with Mark McKenzie, Chris Richards, what have you. What do you feel about the center backs?
Listen, I think that you need experience back there. I didn't like what he said the other day, that he didn't give an F of what people say about him. We all care. Let's be honest. We all care. But he's a player who's a leader. He's got a left foot. So now it's going to be Trusty or Tim Ream. I do like the three because we played it for so long. It's kind of fluid now. If you need a fourth guy to drop in, you can get a fourth guy to drop in. So I like the way the fluidity is moving around. But my concern is, let's just suppose that Jedi takes off down the left-hand side. Now you're leaving Ream isolated on that other side, where you're just, pace-wise scares me with him. So hopefully, if Chris Richards is good, he covers. But listen, it's proven that it can play. It's proven that it's a good team. It's proven that it's a good back line. Now you got to hope everybody's healthy.
I want to talk about Chris Richards because he's a guy that's coming off of an injury, heading into the World Cup. If there is anybody that knows about injuries heading into the World Cup, it is you. What do you think is going through his mind?
Right now, it's just getting healthy. Right now is not putting yourself in a position where you're going to have a relapse, where your ankle is solid. They're going to tape him up. I'm sure there's other things that are going on, but it doesn't really matter. But that's what we do to play. That's what we do to play. What can we say? But no, listen, I think that he's the foundation of that line. So you have to make sure he's 90%, because no one's ever 100% in the World Cup. So if he's 90% ready to go and move, it can move lateral side to side, then he's a lock.
All right, last question, and I want a short answer here because we could stay forever. If you're a center back on this team, you're looking back, who do you want in goal?
Tony Meola. You didn't give me it on three. You said, who do I want? I look back. No, listen, I think that you're good with either Freeze or with Turner. And I'm only going to go because you want a goalkeeper that's been in there, that's been there, done that, has that experience. I would look at probably Turner, only because those nerves aren't going to be there the first game.
Yeah.
But
we'll see what happens.
All right, it's just a matter of days at this point, 2 weeks and change. The expertise of Marcelo Balboa, a World Cup veteran and a USMNT legend.
Good stuff from Nico and Marcelo there. It's nice, isn't it, to see everybody from US soccer coming out. Do you think, Benny, it's a bit of a trip down memory lane for you?
It is. I mean, I didn't get to play with Marcelo or Tony for that matter, but Tony's very big presence in Kansas City, where I live and where I had, you know, my most successful club career. And so getting to see those guys and then reuniting with these two guys, I played with this guy a little bit, Copa America, right, 07.
Yeah. He was playing with Gaijins, right?
Yeah, back in 19.
Hey, by the way, another Kansas City legend. So yeah, it's always fun getting the guys back together and reminiscing about past days, past games, and in another life.
I thought you were the president of Kansas City, Jimmy.
I think I could run for mayor and be all right.
Were you on a bus?
I was on, bus stop.
Bus stop.
Yeah, my name's up in the stadium. Benny gets to worship that.
No, I'm there
regularly.
too. I'm there too.
Oh, that's right.
That's
Congrats.
Right. Don't forget.
I haven't been there. I thought it was just me in big tones.
What did you think about what Marcelo said, though, Charlie? Do you echo the same sentiments with the experience and the new players that have come in?
Cello is a legend. I absolutely love Cello, and we both got to have Cello as our assistant at the U20 level, which was great. It was first time I grew up, idolizing the guy. He's scoring bicycle kicks in MLS, and now we're working with him. I think what Cello hits on is very important. The experience of coming into this World Cup versus the last one in 2022 in Qatar. You're a deer in headlights. You're just kind of, you're not deemed a top side. You're going in for the experience. It's just great to be here. Whereas the pressure here is you have the opportunity to change how the sport is viewed by the masses. Mm-hmm. You have the opportunity to inspire more youth players to make this be their dream. You have a chance to turn what Major League Soccer is in now to an even higher level of being a top 5 league in the world, right? That's the aim. So I think having that World Cup experience is going to be massive for them. I think the new players, now they're coming into a locker room where the guy next to them has played in a World Cup and a guy who has played in Champions League and can say, hey, you need to do X, Y, Z today in order to get a result. So I think that does play a massive role.
If anything, they just bring a calmness. You mentioned it earlier about how Tyler Adams is feeling about walking into this World Cup. And I think that calmness matters because there's going to be times in this tournament where at halftime, something didn't go our way in the first half. What is that team going to look like? How are they solving problems? And calmness is usually the best way to figure that out. If everybody's in there and being emotional or not knowing what to do or what to say, then that lends itself to being a little bit more chaotic in a second half where we might need a result.
So true. Well, Pochettino's managed some of the best European top 5 domestic teams, hasn't he? But now the pressure and the spotlight is on him. We're going to talk more about the communication between the US boss and the players in just a sec.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in 2 worlds.
There are others, but they're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad in my hand.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gotta blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Well, for more on Mauricio Pochettino's communication with the team, Ben Steiner tweeted this. Pochettino went on a 4-minute rant about sending emails to players who weren't named rather than making calls. Maybe if I call, I'm very human about calling and then giving an explanation. Come on, that is BS, he said. The US men's national team coach seems frustrated. Then there was this from Carl Barn. Mauricio Pochettino uses experience to explain why he sent emails to tell players that they weren't selected. When I was sacked at Tottenham, why would Daniel Levy talk to me after he made the decision? I want to talk before, but not after. After, I want to hear nothing from him. So we kind of have the explanation, at least from his point of view. How do you feel about that now, Jimmy?
I feel...
Don't hold back, because I know you see it from a lot of different ways. We got our coaching hat on.
I get it.
So go ahead.
Okay, so I'm in a unique position because I was on the positive side of things in 2006, where I got named to the team. In 2010, I was one of the ones that were one of the last cuts before they had their last camp. And Bob Bradley gave me a call and said, hey, we're not going to take you. And I respected that. I wasn't happy about it, but I respected that I got to hear his voice, and I felt respected.
Sure.
Even though it didn't work for me, I got respected. And so it maybe not an email to like the Xavier Gozos, who never really part of the player pool, that seems okay. But for the Tanner Tessmanns, who have been along on this journey with you, Diego Luna, for me, the respect to show them with a call, I thought would have gone a long way. And would have been more human.
I think especially...
And I wish he would have done that.
You brought up a good point that they could very well be a part of the future plans. Does it damage the relationship for the future, Benny?
Look, I think it can. I don't know if Poch is going to be here past 2026, so that's another question mark for maybe another conversation for another day. My biggest thing as a coach, this is one thing that I've learned, is coaches are usually of a different generation than the players that they're coaching. And you have to adhere to some of the generational changes of the players. And I think players nowadays, and I could tell you firsthand, they want more information. They want to know why they're not playing, why they're not selected, what can they do better. And it's like a daily, weekly thing at a club level. And so maybe Poch is truly like that, right? If he's going to get fired from Tottenham, he just wants to hear, hey, you're fired, and he doesn't want the explanations as to what he should have done better or whatever. Fair enough. But he's not talking to himself. He's talking to a group of players that are 20 years old. And I think that generation wants to hear something. They want to know why. What can they do better? Right? There is a future for some of these players on the national team. And so I disagree with his take, and I do think that you have to understand who you're talking to, who you're dealing with. And generationally, I think that they're a different type of people than Poch and maybe even us.
Just to play the devil's advocate to that, it's not the first time that we've seen a manager maybe handle it in this situation. I mean, even Thomas Tuchel, before the English team came out, Harry Maguire was the first to come out and say, I haven't been picked for the team, and this is how I feel about it. So are we being too harsh with the US in particular, when even Ancelotti came out in the media and we had to watch everybody's raw reactions to them finding out? Yeah, I mean, in that case with Ancelotti, João Pedro is right. The one who, was scoring a game-winning goal in the Club World Cup with Chelsea, and you would think his spot is booked to not making the squad and having no idea, and watching with his family and loved ones
to find out he's not going to the World Cup.
But wait, let me just cut you off on that one real quick. Brazil, that's the tradition for Brazil.
I know.
They do it that way, and they've always done it that way. So I think that players understand, as much as they might get frustrated, I think that's just how the Brazilian national team has always done it.
But for me, whether you have a certain tradition or you don't, for me, it's just because Tottenham sacked you and didn't give you a call, that doesn't mean that's how you're supposed to do it. Just because wrong has been done to you doesn't mean you continue the wrong, right? That's the issue I have, is don't use how you've been treated in your past as a justification to treat people the same way as you've got, because at the end of the day, this is a national team. This isn't a club team either. I get, people get transferred and dropped from teams, and that's the business. National teams aren't business. This is your DNA. This is your blood. That's
your dream.
This is who you represent. You represent your country. This is something you dreamed about your whole life.
It's the Mecca.
It is the pinnacle, but it's not business. This is love. This is passion. This is enthusiasm. This is your culture. This is your history. This is representing your family. It's much more than business, and to not see through that for me is the disappointing aspect of it. And to your point, if you're a player that has not been in the pool at all, and people start throwing your name out because you're doing well, and you get an email, fine. You were never even kept to have a relationship.
Yes.
But for a Diego Luna, who was used as an example by Pochettino. Remember, when Pochettino took over that Nations League team, it was all, this team doesn't have heart. They don't have the fight. They forget the quality. They don't have what it takes to be competitive. Diego Luna was the one player that he used as an example, as an MLS player to all the European players. This guy has balls. This guy is playing with an extreme passion, and he's showing character. This is the type of player I want in my team.
It's so true. I think especially for Diego Luna, he is the one that stands out with all of this communication. We're actually going to hear from Pochettino now on the whole situation from his press conference. Here it is.
What we need to understand is how we create the communication with the player from the day one. And when you create the communication very clear in the way that we implement our way to communicate, we are not going to change, because for us it's the most important event is to be in any single roster. When you play, non-official game, when you play Copa America, when you play, when you play National League, when you play the World Cup. I think in the way that we communicate, it's not changing because it's an official competition. And I think the player respect you or respect us. We work in an environment that is very respectful. Respect is it's one of our principal things. When the player are in the camp with us, it's fully respect. But that is a little bit, I was a player. When I didn't make the roster, I didn't want that my coach called me. But my coach, the coach of the national team, I say, which is the reason that I am not in the roster? What are you going to say? I'm going to lie. You are not in the roster because I believe that another teammate is today, in that period, is better option. I don't say that is better player, and you cannot make the roster in the future. That is why I don't really believe into. If I communicate, because we are how we work. 55 players in the provisional roster. I need to call now the rest of the players, but I should call in March. I should call in January camp. I think is not the way. And come on, how I grow up in my country, football is about to do everything to try to be in the roster. If I don't know the roster, I need to think in like now until to the one day before. Things can happen. They need to be ready because maybe we can call. That is the sport. That is football. That is soccer, and we cannot change the rules.
Party, please.
And that doesn't mean that we don't care about because we care a lot. We don't want to say nothing to confuse the player. Because if, like when I was sacked, no, in different clubs, no, one was in Tottenham, no, and Daniel, the president say, I want to talk with you. And what do you want to talk about me? If you sack me, you told before to sack me. No, after. When you made the decision, I have nothing to say. I don't want to hear nothing. If I understand the player, they didn't make the roster, they don't want to hear me to say, oh, apologize, oh, what I care. Do you know why I care? Because during 2 weeks I didn't sleep. And today, still I cannot enjoy the 26 guys that are in front of me because I am thinking in players that are out. That is about to care. It's not to call. Because if I call, it's about myself. I say, oh, I call, I am very human about calling and then giving explanation. Come on, that is bullshit. Sorry.
So the rant goes on there. What do you think, Benny, obviously, with the Tottenham situation? Is that a good example for him to use, or is it not comparable?
Someone seemed defensive really quick. Can we just talk about how defensive he got?
The last word he used was BS, so he was definitely escalating towards very angry. He didn't like whatever the question was. That was a thought that lasted 5 minutes. But to answer your question, Poppy, I don't think it's it's not comparable at all, right? I've never been fired as a coach, but when you are fired as a coach, I can only imagine it's like, all right, I'm done. I don't want to hear what you have to say. You were my boss. I listened to you before. I don't care what you have to say anymore. I'm leaving and pay out the rest of my contract. That's what you're thinking. As a player, you're not getting paid to play on the national team. You've worked your entire life for a moment like what you talked about. It's the pinnacle of a soccer career. Your essence as a soccer player is trying to play at the World Cup. So I do think that it's a very different situation, and I would have liked that. You know, it doesn't have to be where you're coming over and making sure that everybody is okay with the decision. But I think it's more than just an email or a text thread or whatever. I think it would have been what you went through with Bob Bradley. I think makes a lot of sense.
So I looked at the snubs for Argentina. Paulo Dybala just didn't get named to their 55-man roster, and I wonder if their coach Lionel Scaloni picked up the phone and said, "Hey, listen, we know you're talented, but for whatever reason, we're not going to put you on the 55-man roster," which is a bit of a surprise. I assume he called someone. Angel Correa was another player. These are really talented players, and they're leaving them off the 55-man roster. He's using Argentina in his upbringing, which is fine. We all have our own upbringings in the way that we saw the game. But I agree with you, Chuck. If you see something that didn't feel good for you when you were a player, why would you not rectify that and try to do something on more positively and understanding the generation that you're in and the types of communication that these players want? The first thing they teach us in the coaching courses that we take is you got to meet your players where they are. And I don't think he met the players where they are in this particular instance. Again, it's not about the Xavier Gozos or the players that didn't get called in. It's more about the Tanner Tessmanns and Diego Lunas who have had a really meaningful part of this journey so far under his tenure.
Do you think there's something else to be said about club football compared to representing your country? Because yes, to the Tottenham example, it's very results-orientated, money-orientated, and at the end of the day, things change quickly. In this situation, the players don't have a choice to play for another national team. So does that give Pochettino more power, do you think, as well, to stand by his decisions and say, no, I'm going to do it like this? Because if it was, for example, a Tottenham player that he didn't like, he might have to think, well, I need to communicate to them in a better way because there's a chance they might leave and we can't afford to lose that player for the club and lose the money. Does that make sense, Chuck?
I hear what you're saying in terms of he might be stuck with them anyways, and you have a disgruntled guy still around the club, whether they're allowed to train or not or be a part of the locker room. But at the end of the day, again, this is not a business. This is your heart. This is representing your family. This is the ultimate experience you can have as a professional player. That's it. You dream of playing in the World Cup, and you can only represent your country of origin or your birth or whatever birth passport you have. But at the end of the day, for me, if I develop some sort of relationship with Pochettino and I'm playing for Pochettino, you get a sense if you're really going to be in the 26 or if you're on the bubble. Now, if I'm on the bubble, I'm pushing, I'm doing everything I possibly can to make sure I'm included. So you're doing all the little things right. You're trying to be the perfect teammate. You're trying to be the perfect, training player, being prepared, asking all the right questions. If I was not a part of that 26-man roster, I would hope that he would give me a call before I have to hear from the media. before the leak comes out that I'm not a part. I would hope that he'd say, hey, I love everything you've done. I'm not picking you. And maybe you ask, could you give me a reason why? Or tell me what I need to improve on so I'm ready for the next one, especially for a young player like Diego Luna. Why not help him so that he can be ready for the next World Cup? If you saw that he had potential and he is this kid who plays with a broken nose and shows that, hey, I'm not willing to sacrifice this chance. That's what stood out to me. When he played through a broken nose and delivered and scored a goal, and Pochettino went, whoa, oh my God, this kid played with a broken nose because he wanted it that bad. I thought his plane ticket was sealed. And he was brought in every camp. And he had done relatively well in every camp. Just to be left out in the end, for me, that's cold.
Well, we're going to talk more about the snubs after the break and the players that probably would have expected a little bit more in just a moment. We'll be right back here on Call It What You Want. Stay with us.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion!
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here. Now.
Open your eyes. Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it? Can you handle it? The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
All right, welcome back in to Call It What You Want. Here are some of the notable omissions from this World Cup roster that just got dropped today by Mauricio Pochettino and his coaching staff. The big ones, Tanner Tessmann and Diego Luna, are probably the two biggest names. We've talked about them over the duration of the show so far. Aiden Morris is in there. Yunus Musa, who was a bright star for us in 2022, couldn't find his way onto the team. Goso, who's been playing well for Real Salt Lake, maybe a late addition, doesn't find his way in. Noah Kai Banks was a center back that we were flirting with. He was flirting with us. He's also eligible for Germany. They announced their team. He's not on that as well, but he is a viable option for the next World Cup cycle. He's got a bright future. I'm excited about Noah Kai Banks. But let's talk about Diego Luna in particular. And I'm going to come to our resident playmaker over here, with all due respect to you, Chuck, because you're a striker. Diego Luna, what did he bring to the table, and why are you disappointed that he's not in this team?
Well, I'm disappointed because I think he's unique in a lot of the things that he does. And we touched upon it, right? I think in Nations League, Gold Cup, when we saw him, when the team wasn't doing what we would expect from the U.S. team against some of the competition that they were playing against, he came in and provided a spark. I think his personality, I think the way that he carries himself. And look, I think a lot of people might take this in a weird way, but he is the same age that Clint Dempsey was in 06. And he has had about the same number of games with the national team as Clint Dempsey had in 06. Goals, assists, they're all very similar, both club and country. And I think that there's a similarity to their mentality, right? That they believe they belong no matter where they are. And so I think having a player like that is able to play a role off the bench, if the team needs some sort of momentum shift, a goal, a creativity from the bench, I think he's somebody that could have come in and provided that. So I'm disappointed that he's not going to be there.
It's interesting because he's a player with some bite. And I think the game that we like the most during Mauricio Pochettino's tenure is the Uruguay game, the 5-1 game. He started that game. He scored in that game. Tim Ream did not start in that game. Christian Pulisic did not start in this game.
That's what I was going to ask.
Right? So you had a nice collection of guys. And we've talked about this before on the show, that if you had, when we looked at that roster or the starting 11 on paper, you're like, this team is not against Uruguay. Are you insane? And we went out there and rolled them and played on the front foot and played with that attitude and desire and determination that we all expect every time you step on the field with red, white, and blue. And I think Diego Luna epitomizes that in some capacity. So I'm disappointed that we're missing out on a guy that, even if he's not playing, I'm sure would have still provided some bite with the second team.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Diego Luna is a player who excelled at the Under-20 World Cup, carried it into MLS, has been the guy for RSL at Salt Lake. So when we're looking at who are the guys that are counted on in their club football from week to week, he's been that player, and he's been consistent in MLS. Now he goes to the national team, and I think he's shown the desire and the fight that Pochettino expects, one, but he also has the quality. And to your point, Benny, you just need to see that mature over time and keep giving him reps and giving him reps. And we all know it might be 15 reps, it might be 20 caps, it might be 25, it might be 30, and it hits. And when it hits, it's sweet because you're in a rhythm and you feel that he could be on the verge to a European move, and we don't really know his ceiling yet. We had this debate before. Could he be the next Clint Dempsey? And he would have said, in 2006, nobody would have said Clint Dempsey would have become the Clint Dempsey that we know he is today, the legend that he is. But who's to say he wouldn't go on and have a top career where he's playing in La Liga for a top club? Maybe it's a Real Sociedad that he has an incredible career.
I mean, I wouldn't bet against
Atletico Madrid, right?
With his mentality, with the way he believes in himself, I think there's no reason to bet against him. And so I think we're all on the same page when we talk about Diego Luna, that he provides a unique spark to this team that in a World Cup, in a tournament that you could conceivably play 8 games in, he's a valuable player on the bench.
I think the thing that I look at when I'm looking at Diego Luna's profile is you want different types of players, right? To be able to go into a game and go, we don't have the same player profile, so we're choosing the same players out of this one bucket. I want a lot of different buckets depending on the game situation. And Diego Luna, if you want somebody to come in with great fight, maybe it's a spot start, maybe it's someone who can come in and get on the ball and create creativity, no fear, that's your guy. So it's interesting that Pochettino opted for some safer choices, I think, than including Diego Luna.
All right, let's talk about some of those safer choices. I think Christian Roldan, Sebastian Berhalter come to mind, and that's going to lead me to Tander Tessmann and Aiden Morris. I'll throw both of them in, but we'll kind of focus on Tessmann. He's up here on the screen because we're pretty thin now in this department. You've got Tyler Adams, who's a traditional number 6. Weston McKennie's probably more of an 8. Sebastian Berhalter's probably more of an 8. For those that don't know these numbers, it's like kind of an attack. An 8 is an attacking midfielder, but also they go box to box, right? And the 6 usually sits. The 10 is your playmaker. Okay, so I think Sebastian Berhalter's probably a better 8, and Roldan can sit, but he's almost maybe better as a number 8. And you leave Tessmann, who's a 6, at home. Johnny Cardoso's hurt. And I thought with Cardoso hurt, Tessmann was going to be in for sure. Aiden Morris is another one that sits.
An 8 as well.
Who's that? Cardoso. Yeah, we could argue. So and Tyler Adams for me likes to hunt. It's not to say he's an 8. He's more of a traditional 6. But it's interesting that we didn't bring another one that felt more 6-ish. And when asked about this in the press conference, we don't have that clip, but Mauricio Pochettino went on and listed all the guys that could play next to Tyler Adams, like Tillman and Weston, and it went on and on and on about how they had guys that could play that spot if needed. Mm-hmm. I still think it's a vulnerability, Benny.
I agree with you, and we went through this scenario of who plays next to Tyler Adams and allows Tyler Adams to showcase who he truly is as a player, where you said he's a pit bull. He wants to go hunt the ball. He wants to get in people's faces, especially against these teams in the group games where you don't want the other team to have much possession. You want to go win it, but that means you need somebody to stay at home, and without the likes of Tanner Tessmann and Johnny Cardoso, I'm almost curious. I know we talked about Weston McKennie maybe playing that role, but is it possible that a Sebastian Berhalter can be asked to play a little bit differently and stay a little bit more at home to let Tyler Adams go and hunt? I don't know. I think that's another question for these next 2 games to see what it looks like. Maybe McKennie is probably the answer, but I don't know. I don't have the answer right now.
I think McKennie is the answer because you also have to think about substitutions. And Tyler Adams isn't a guy that's going to be substituted in the game unless he's on the yellow card and you're saying, hey, let's get him out. Weston McKennie is not a guy you substitute. Both have incredible fitness, box to box, whatever you need from them, they're not going to really be substituted. Then you look at the attacking players. Christian Pulisic, you would ideally think he's not going to be substituted. And if he did, it's 80th minute on. The guy next to him, that's the one question mark, whether it's Timothy Weah, Malik Tillman, or Zendejas, Brendan Aronson. You got a number of players, and they all give you something a little bit different, which I think Pochettino, that's where he can say, okay, I can change it up, switch it up, depending on the game situation, the opponent. Are we having possession? Are we not safe in possession or out of possession? So for me, that's where you can really switch it up. Joe Scally's probably the one that I go, a little bit redundant in terms of you don't need him at right wing back because you got Dest. You got Timothy Weah that could play. You got Weston McKennie that could play there.
Yeah, Freeman.
Yeah. All right, Tyler Adams. You could have a number of players who are utilities in a way because they can play in multiple positions. So, it's interesting how Pochettino decided to pick the 26 and leave some guys off.
And also with Tessmann, maybe it's a Scally for Tessmann, because Tessmann could also play center back. He'd done that for Lyon in France, and I just thought he had enough versatility that was worth bringing him in. Disappointed for him, and we'll see how he responds to that. Now, do you think it's opponent-based? So for me, Weston McKennie next to Tyler Adams against Paraguay makes a ton of sense, because we should, on paper, have more of the ball. Same with Australia. But the Turkey game gets a little bit trickier, because you have a Yildiz. You have
maybe. I mean, he's also coming off
True, but they have
for us.
I feel like having 2 traditional 6s or more defensive-minded guys in that spot. So you have Tyler and maybe somebody else could help if they try to create overloads in different areas. Whereas I think with Paraguay and Australia, you can take a little bit more risk to have more of a kind of a front foot, let's say, partner next to Tyler Adams.
Devil's advocate.
Yeah, I was going with that devil's advocate as well. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I don't think Turkey are that great defensively.
So we can take advantage of that.
When you get in behind.
I was going the other way.
I think defensively there's some vulnerability there. They're not great when they got to chase anybody with balls in behind. The game gets open. So we saw in our UEFA coaching course, a coach came in, the assistant coach for the Georgia national team, David Webb. He had a whole PowerPoint presentation because one of the biggest matches they had for the Euros was Georgia versus Turkey. So he had a whole breakdown of Turkey, how they play. And we were going through the PowerPoint, and the spaces that they leave between the lines is massive. So I think that's where McKennie can still shine, playing next to Adams, pushing up when we have possession. So I think that's a matchup that actually goes in our favor.
I totally agree with you. And the way that I was thinking about it was actually the Australia and the Paraguay. Those games to me are when it could be really dangerous to have a Tyler Adams and a Weston McKennie that are willing to just go and hunt the ball and run out of that position because they're looking to expose us on the counter. Mm-hmm. And so in those moments, it's where I'm going to find it interesting. Man, we see in the World Cup all all the time. You saw Saudi Arabia beat Argentina a year back, or 4 years ago. I remember Iceland putting up some really good performances as a small country, small nation, countering. And so those countries against us, if we open up that midfield space, they could take advantage of that.
What about Morocco in the last World Cup?
Well, Morocco did it to everybody.
Taking down Portugal and Spain. So
what notes could we take from Morocco? You know, Chuck, like what were they doing? Was it just kind of that togetherness as a team that really, you know, had them, because they had that good result. You get a little bit of that confidence, and as we've talked a number of times, confidence is a hell of a drug.
Spirit. It's the team spirit. And
I mean, they have a hell of a team.
A hell of a team. Like, I don't want to take anything away from the quality that Morocco has, for sure. But team spirit, look at South Korea in 2002. Yep. Another group. You wouldn't say any of their players were necessarily world class. No one was going through the South Korea lineup and going, oh, star, star, star. It was about how they played as a group and the willingness to work on both sides of the ball, from player 1 to player 11. That was the team spirit they had, and they executed when they had set pieces. They executed in transition, and that's all you need. An absolute defensive, just a frame of mind of whatever we need to do to prevent an opportunity, we're going to do. Throw our bodies on the line, and you throw that to Morocco with sprinkle some quality in there, and that's how you can have a magical run. Maybe.
All right, we are going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into Gio Reyna and his inclusion into the roster. So don't go anywhere.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others, but they're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad in my hand.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money.
What's the plan here?
Gotta blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back, everybody, to Call It What You Want. So here's just a reminder of the World Cup squad, which does include Gio Reyna. He has been included in Mauricio Pochettino's plans, despite only playing 520 minutes, registering just 1 goal for Mönchengladbach this season. Here he is with Nico Cantor in New York.
Gio, back in a World Cup squad, how does it feel?
Yeah, great. Honestly, just happy to be here. Happy to be back with the group. A lot of excitement and joy within the group right now, so it's a lot to look forward to.
Does it feel like a little bit of personal redemption for you?
No, not really. Yeah, I don't really know what to be redemption for, but no, not really. I'm just happy to be here with the team. This group means so much to me, so that's it, really.
Talk to me a little bit about your journey as a footballer. Going to Mönchengladbach, your playing time, you get the call up. Clearly, coach thinks there's something special in you.
Like I said, I'm just here with the team. Want to help in any way possible. Of course, extremely grateful that I'm here, like everyone else. But just want to help the team. Want to bring success to this country with this group of guys and the staff. So just excited.
How'd you find out?
Same way like everyone else, just through an email or text message or whatever it was, and. We knew, me and my family knew when it was coming, so we were waiting anxiously. But we got the good news, and we were very happy.
Who was the first person you told?
I was sitting next to my wife, and then after that, I called my parents. So.
Nice. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, Pochettino said there's no doubt that Gio Reyna is a special player. He needs to be afforded that opportunity. I know, Jimmy, you've had a lot to say about Gio Reyna. What do you think on the whole situation?
All right. I do have a few things to say. I look forward to getting Charlie Davies' reaction to what I'm about to get into. Here we go. So as we enter into this conversation about Gio Reyna, who, just for context for everybody at home, I did not have in my predicted World Cup roster, which maybe caused a little stir on the internet. I want to take a minute to address a few people. Okay, first, to the told you so crowd of my messages after Gio got named to the team, including Chuck and Big Tones, I want to thank you for the consistent reminders that you were right and I was wrong. I love you guys. Second, I want to say something to Mauricio Pochettino. Mauricio, I remember you mentioning how much you loved the movie Miracle, about the 1980 U.S. hockey team who shocked the world by beating the unbeatable Russians in the semifinals and then going on to win the gold medal. Their legendary coach, Herb Brooks, would have never made an exception to take a special case player like you did here, but because he knew that the talent of his players would be matched or outmatched at some point. And then what? What's going to happen, or what do we need to have happen to help us win some games? It's the intangibles. Togetherness, grit, determination, fight, never giving up, and it worked. He proved it despite cutting a lot of talented players ahead of those Olympic Games. But since you're bringing Gio in because of his special case talents, then for me, you have to play him. Why bury that type of quality on the bench? If you think he's got the goods, I want to see it from the start, baby, not with 15 minutes left. And finally, to Gio. As we both know, due to our respective World Cup experiences, every single roll of the ball matters at this level. No one can take plays off or hide from the responsibility of their job on both sides of the ball. Actually, maybe a better way of saying it is, we can't have any passengers on the field if we truly want to make a memorable run like the 1980 U.S. hockey team. So show me that you care, because I'll be honest, I can't always tell if you do. And that's what triggers me the most about your situation. You have so much potential, and it hasn't been fully realized, but I know it's in there. So show me, show your team, show the country that you can be the guy for us every time you get on the ball, either to dictate the tempo or to hold it under pressure or making the final pass, and then defensively by doing the dirty work of tracking back, helping us press, or covering for a teammate that gets beat. Let's get to work, because work is what is going to get us results. Talent can't do it alone. So come on, Gio. I believe in you, and I believe in this team, and let's get after it. How was that? Chuck?
I'm inspired.
Sounds like a politician. You went from you shouldn't be there to
that's right.
Pochettino, you're crazy, to you're gonna do it, Gio.
Yes.
But don't be lazy, because you have been lazy. I don't care if you care, Gio, because I haven't seen it. I want you to care, but you really don't show it all the time.
Right.
I don't think you should be there. But now that you're there, I support you. Go get it.
Yes. Wait. So listen. Really quick, Big Tones has been on our podcast a lot, our Average a Good Show, okay? And he said that once the roster gets named, I'm just going to get behind whoever that is. And that's where I am. I don't necessarily think
that. Did you just come to that now, though, after hearing Tony say that?
Well, he's been saying it for months and months. And yeah, obviously he planted a seed with me, and I've processed it, and I think that's the right way forward. So, yes, I'm here saying, okay, I had my disagreements with some of the roster selections, but now that it's here, I'm ready to move forward, and I know that he has the quality to be a special player for us. So now I just want to see it. Go out there and prove it.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I've grown.
What about the comment, Jimmy, that if you think he's so special, play him from the start? Is he fit enough to play from the start?
I think he is, but I don't know if he played him the whole game. But I also like Benny Fieldharper's story because he came on at halftime for all three of our group games in 2010 and helped kind of change how that game was being played. And so there may be a role for him in that space too.
That's the thing. I think there's roles for different players. It's a 26-man roster for a reason, and soccer is 11 men on the field at one time, and then you can add now 5. It used to be 3, but there's 16 players that are going to partake, and there are players that have specific roles that are more suited for coming off the bench. That was my role in 2010, and I think I did a good job. And
you did a beautiful job. You changed the whole complexion of our team.
But it comes from understanding your role, right? You can't come in off the bench not understanding, okay, you got to watch the game in the first half and understand where you can fit in, what things you can do, and I think that Gio is possibly well suited for that role. He's got the talent. He can make things happen. I think you're probably going to bring him in moments of need offensively. You're not going to bring him in terms of, holding on to a result. And so can he fulfill that role as well as his talents allow him to? I think that's the biggest question. There's no doubt. I don't think there's a lot of doubt. Maybe some people, yes, over the course of the year, over the course of the years, whether he can provide his potential at times, but we've seen it at times. Can he do it consistently, and can he do it off the bench in that kind of new role for him?
Would you have called him in, Benny?
Man, I don't know. I think it would have required certain conversations. I haven't watched him this season as intently as I would if I was a national team coach, but I would have intently watched what he looks like coming off the bench for Mönchengladbach, if his mentality is there, if he's making differences when he does come off the bench, and obviously the relationship from a personal standpoint, because I do agree that in a 26-man roster, not every single player is going to play, and you got to make sure that the guys that aren't guaranteed to play aren't going to become negative personalities within that locker room. So all those questions would have been running through my head. I don't have all the answers to that to make a really good judgment call, but there's guys that aren't on the roster that I would have liked to seen it. Does that mean that Gio doesn't make it? I'm not quite sure on that one either.
What about the response you would have, Charlie, to the question from one of the viewers that just popped up? Would he have been called into this camp if his second name was Smith? Do you think that has anything to do with it?
No, he played at Dortmund and was a star at Dortmund with Erling Haaland at a young age. And I think from that hype, by the way, he's already played in the World Cup. So you throw all of that into a bucket. The problem with Gio Reyna was, one, early on, it was his immaturity. He's matured. I always look at some of the players' low points, right? How did they react? What was negative? And once it's aired out in the media, in the public space, you have one of two options. You can learn and grow from it, or you can stay the same or get worse. It's one of the two. He opted to learn and grow from it. That's clear by the way of him still being included. Injuries have not been his friend. His body, understanding his body, understanding my muscles function in a certain way, or if I do something, if I'm too strenuous, my hamstrings go to crap. Whatever it is, injuries and timing of those injuries have been disastrous from him. I think some of the moves that he's made in his career have been disastrous, from the Nottingham Forest loan, some of the agents he's had. Some of those things aren't necessarily him on the pitch, right? Those are maybe some of his management around him, the people around him. But ultimately, when we're discussing the talent of this one player, I look at that Nations League in Vegas where he played incredible under BJ Callahan. And we finally saw Flair and Balogun unlocked, and it was because of his distribution. the way that he's able to float in between the lines, he's so gifted on the ball. He reminds me a little bit of you in some of the qualities that he has.
He's a much better dribbler than I was. I don't know if he's a better passer than I was, definitely a better dribbler on the ball.
But he's up there with his passing, too.
He's got some quality, that's for sure. He can unlock a defense.
But when we're talking about a World Cup, he's like the ace. He's more of like a jack, jack of all trades. He's a wild card.
Yeah,
he really is a wild card because.
Sure. But in good and bad though, that's where we're curious what's going to happen.
I'm looking at it from the good standpoint. When you're talking about some of the teams you may face, and whether it's tied in a game or whether you're playing a real resilient team, or maybe you're up a man and you're playing against a better team, and all of a sudden they're pinned back, and you need somebody. It's a creative genius to unlock a team who can see a final pass. He can see a ball that most, if not all, of the players can't see. He can see. And I've seen it with my own eyes over the past 8 years.
And just to add one more thing to that point, because I think, Poppy, when you asked the question, would you bring him into the roster? One of the interesting things about the national team is it's completely different than club soccer. Club soccer, you got to have 20 to 30 players, and you have this full season and lots of games, and everybody has to have some part in that season. Whereas in the World Cup, it's a month long. It's short. It's 7 games, and there's little tiny moments of necessary genius, right? Magical moments. And I think that's something that we've seen from Gio from time to time. And so if you feel like there's going to be moments that you want to throw him in there that other guys in the pool can't do it, then it makes sense to bring him.
By the way, Pop and Betty, you're talking about a player who was asked to start against Paraguay, a team we're playing in the World Cup, who hasn't played at all at this club, comes and starts a goal and an assist. What more do you need to see? This is a guy who wasn't playing at all. And I tell you the truth, Pochettino probably saw that and said, your ticket is booked.
Right.
You're not playing at your club. You've come in. You've been put on the spot. This is your pressure moment, sink or swim. You don't perform, see you later. I'm done with you. He showed up. They got the win, and he performed. So when you talk about special cases, that's a result.
It's so true as well when you follow so closely that just the ups and downs of a footballer, and you see, yes, okay, there's things that he's taken accountability for, but the moves that you mentioned and the injuries and all the frustration that builds with that and everything that's led him here. The inclusion of Reyna is the question asked on the YouTube poll. 72% say yes.
Oh, Jimmy about to blow a casket right now.
I've turned a new leaf.
No.
We've just explained.
Jimmy's
okay, now you have.
Yeah. I'm all in. Let's go.
But I'm telling you right now, up until today, my man was ready to fight. He was red. He was furious.
He's going to do great. Can't wait.
Team US. Speaking of that, we're going to speak to Nico Cantor, who spoke to Zendejas after the break as well. We'll be back in just a sec.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. With the entire nation hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others, but they're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money. What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, Nico is on the carpet alongside lots of these players that have been called in to the World Cup squad. Here he is with Sergino, Dest and Alejandro Zendejas.
Well, first off, congrats. World Cup roster. You guys are in it again. What have you guys been talking about amongst the boys?
I mean, everybody is happy, you know, and I feel like we have a good group, so we just can't wait to get started.
How about you, bro? You've been dealing with a lot of injuries through the season, but you finally look much better.
Yeah. I've had some setbacks, some problems, but yeah, I'm good now. So let's keep it that way. I'm working really hard, and I get motivated right at the end. So now I'm even more focused. So I'm glad that I'm back and I'm ready to go and fight for this country.
I can see it in the eyes.
Yeah, man, I'm down.
Listen, what are you going to play at the World Cup? You have any idea? Because just in the press conference, Poch said that you could be a winger, a fullback, a midfielder, right, left, anything.
Wherever the team needs me, man. I'm here for the country and for the team.
I mean, you've been versatile this season. We saw you here as a right back, but you've been playing left back as well.
Yeah, I can play multiple positions, so I think that's also a weapon, and that makes it more unpredictable for the opponents to get the tactics on us. So yeah, wherever the team needs me.
How much Sergino Dest sauce are we going to see at this World Cup? The step overs, Meg?
A lot, 100%.
That goes straight to the Instagram story right afterwards, right?
Yeah, maybe, but yeah, you will see a lot. You know, I'm willing to give everything for this crest, and obviously my playing style is skillful, is with some flair. So yeah, I'm definitely going to show that.
Nice. I hope to see it, man. Listen, you guys are going to your second World Cup. A lot of you guys. How did the experience of Qatar build you and going to help you now for this World Cup?
For me personally, Qatar was the greatest moment, you know, of my career in terms of big tournaments. It's really special, you know. Some of the players, it's their first one, so whenever they have any questions or whatever, they can always ask. But yeah, we had a great run, last one, and hopefully we will get a bigger one this one.
What does a bigger run mean for the U.S.?
Win more games.
Alex, congratulations, man. I mean, you get called into the World Cup. It must be a dream. How did you even picture this moment?
To be honest, no, man. It's not everyone gets to play in a World Cup, and for it happening on home soil and me being here, it's a dream come true for sure.
How'd you find out?
I'm sure just like how everyone's been saying through an email, man, but just like receiving that on your screen and just like actually reading it and taking it in, it was a crazy moment for sure.
Walk me through the moment. Did you just get back from training? Were you with your family?
I was back home. I was with my girlfriend. We just finished training, and I got like an email on my screen, and I didn't want to look at it yet. So then I went to the family group chat in WhatsApp, and then I was put in another group that I've never been in before. So, and then when I saw the title of the group chat name, I was like, wow, like I did it, man. And it's crazy, man. It's all God's timing, man.
Have you talked to Poch yet?
Yeah, obviously everyone got the chance to talk to him once we landed and stuff, and all good vibes, man.
What do you feel your role could be on this national team? You're very talented. You can play multiple positions. Have you talked about that yet with your team?
No, but I'm sure They know, they've seen me. Hopefully they watch this season. First part of the season was kind of rough for me, but I think for several years now, I've been in a good moment. And yeah, only I guess coach knows why he brought me in, and I appreciate him so much for the opportunity. And like you said, I'm able to play a bunch of positions, so hopefully that can bring a lot to the team.
If I may, I think you're the guy on the team that plays with the most pressure from anybody, week in, week out. In Estadio Azteca, Americanismo, it's different. I don't know if the English-speaking world knows it. What's that like? Give us an insight.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't know how, like you said, a lot of people don't know about that pressure, but being at a club like Club America, it's not easy, man. Not everyone is able to do it, but there's a bunch of players on this team and in the States that play with just the same amount of pressure. But, man, it's nice to be here. I'm grateful to be here and just not take it as pressure, but just enjoy the moment.
They're all being very cagey, aren't they, about the way that they receive the communication. They all want to say, as everybody else has said. But do you think that there was part of him that was surprised, Jimmy, to be called up, considering that he didn't feature in the last window and he hasn't been called in since that Japan game?
Yeah, for all the reasons you mentioned. I mean, he just wasn't in the conversation. Even when we talked about it on the show, even though we were clamoring for him because of his performance against Japan, because he was a difference maker in that sense, and because he wears the number 10 shirt for Club America, which is arguably the biggest club in Mexico, we just assumed that that's the kind of guy that you want, that wants the responsibility, that wants to make the big play. We had a conversation off camera, Benny, about Zendejas and about how when he comes to the national team, maybe he's a little bit different because he defers that responsibility to other players. But I want him to understand that we need him to be the guy that wears the Club America shirt.
Yeah, he was one of my most positive surprises. We talk about maybe the Diego Lunas that is disappointing. He was one that I brought a smile to my face. I think he's done a lot of things for Club America, especially in the short term. He's been arguably their best player, especially in the attacking third. And to have that kind of quality in the attacking third for the national team, I think is big going into the World Cup.
I don't know why no one's bringing up how we found out that we were going to be part of CBS's World Cup. I know Giancarlo.
I actually got a call.
Giancarlo in the back with Nastri, they paged me, coincidentally. But no, you get to play in the World Cup. You know, whether you find out for email, WhatsApp group, whatever it is, this is a player who's been on the outside looking in for the entire process, no matter what he's done at the club level. And I think early on when he got his first couple of caps, it wasn't clicking. And you thought, maybe this play is a little too quick for him or the stage is a little bit too big for him. But when he got that cap against Japan and he scored that incredible volley with that technique, you finally started to see the Zendejas that you see at Club America wearing the number 10 shirt. And so we all have been clamoring for him to be in this squad because he is a difference maker. He's a different player profile. Left, you know, he can go left, he can go right. Great delivery. I love his aggressiveness. He's good in tight spaces. So for me, it was a no-brainer to have him in the 26-man roster. So I'm glad that he got to make his dream come true.
It's been super positive, hasn't it? The reaction to him. He looks so excited as well, which is so nice to see. 16 days to go until the World Cup begins. We're going to wrap up the show in just a second. Stay with us.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. With the entire nation hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion!
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here now.
Open your eyes. Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money. What's the plan here?
Gotta blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back, everybody, to Call It What You Want. Let's go back over to Pier 17. Here is Nico with Tom Bogert.
The day's coming to a close here on Pier 17. Tom Bogert and myself. Tom, you were at the press conference with Pochettino. What were your takeaways?
My takeaway for me is that he didn't want to talk about anybody who wasn't here on the 26-man roster. When he was asked about snubs like Tanner Tessmann and Diego Luna, what he said is it would be disrespectful to talk about anybody who is not here today. That's all he wanted to say. He also wanted to defend himself for his communication style. As I've reported, he alerted the players via email whether they made or missed the roster, as well as the guys who made the roster got one video all the same for all 26 saying that they made the team. He said, quote, "It was my time to communicate, not to inspire." And he also said, "I was a player. I was cut from the 1998 World Cup squad for Argentina. I just missed. I didn't want to hear from the coach. If the coach calls me, what's he going to say? He's going to lie to me." He also said if he made calls to the players, it would have been about himself. It would have been, I want to show you that I'm a good guy, that I called everybody. He said he couldn't sleep for 2 weeks when he was making this decision. He also said he didn't finalize the 26-man roster until the day before those emails went out on Friday. So it was Thursday night when he finally picked that 26.
So he didn't finalize the roster until he was there putting the 26 together. It's not like he had the 26 in his head. I was talking to a lot of the players, and a lot of the takeaway, it almost felt like, you know, when you get into college, you open the laptop, you find the email, you're, Mom, Dad, I made it. For example, Alejandro Zendejas. Yeah. That's what he told me. I got home from practice. I didn't want to look. I sent it to a group chat, and then I got it confirmed that because I was put into another WhatsApp group chat, and the name of the group chat was Alex made the World Cup or whatever it was, confirming that he had made the World Cup. So is this, do you think, atypical, or is it not something more newsworthy than what it is?
I think it's atypical in modern soccer, but to be fair to Pochettino and his staff, they've been absolutely consistent with this. They don't call the players when they're at their clubs. He thinks that would be disrespectful to the club coaches. He doesn't want to overload the players with information. I will say Greg Berhalter FaceTimed all of the players that both made and missed the roster. Famously, Ricardo Pepi hung up on Berhalter when he was being told that he did not make the squad because he was so upset. So I think that's kind of what Pochettino was trying to avoid. But even somebody like Thomas Tuchel, I don't think he's got a reputation for being an arm around your shoulder players type of manager. He called everybody in England. Anybody who made a camp under him, he called to let them know if they didn't make the team. So I think it's a fair critique and a fair thing to talk about. But at least for Pochettino, he has been consistent in that way.
Yeah. All right. I want to get your take on a lot of the inclusions and a lot of the omissions. When the roster was leaked, right, we had an idea that it wasn't going to be Diego Luna in the squad and Gio Reyna was in. But I don't think it's specifically Gio Reyna in, Diego Luna out. I actually think it's Zendejas in. I was talking to Balboa and Tony Miola, and they were saying it's more Zendejas in and Diego Luna out.
Nico, I think you're absolutely right, because I think Gio Reyna was going to make this team as long as he wasn't injured. That has been what sources have told me throughout the year, that they felt pretty good about that, because he's a special case. And while he's played less from August until May than Diego Luna has from March until May, it was always about, is he able to play, because he has that special something that not really anybody else in the pool has when he's fit. That is a when, it's an if, it's something that we've been thinking about in the hypothetically rather than on the field, but still we know it's in there. Diego Luna versus Zendejas, I think, is that last attacking roster spot, because Zendejas wasn't called into the camps, like I think 1 out of the last 6 and none of the last 3. I was very surprised to see him on the team, not because he didn't deserve it in merit, because he's been fantastic for Club America, but it just seemed like Pochettino didn't rate him. The biggest issue for me about the squad is not even those guys, because while I think Zendejas or Luna could impact this team, central midfield is too light, man.
So no Tessmann, no Aiden Morris. Yes, Berhalter, yes, if you will, Roldan in those positions. What do you make of the non-inclusion of a player in Ligue 1 and the guy that was just playing in the championship playoff?
I don't like it, and none of these decisions are in a vacuum. I thought at least one of them, I thought both of them could have. But when you look at it, there's 3 natural defense-minded midfielders, or at least players that can play deeper. McKennie kind of can, but he's better when he's pushing forward.
Right.
So you have Tyler Adams, you have Sebastian Berhalter, and you have Christian Roldan. There are 7 players who can play center back. That is too many. Mauricio Pochettino,
he was asked about that in the press conference.
It was a weird answer, man. He was like, he's just started, it was like naming guys who maybe could play center mid. One of them was Chris Richards, and whenever you can have your best player, or your best defensive player play out of position, maybe you got to do it. We don't even know if he's going to be totally fit. He said Dest can. Dest cannot play that position in a 3-4-2-1. He said Tillman. He said Gio Reyna. You don't have a defensive midfielder in that scenario. I just thought that was very, very odd, but he backs the team's versatility.
Right.
I think that they were very light there and too heavy on center back.
So clearly in Pochettino's mind, he thinks he has more balance to this squad than we are let out to believe looking at the 26.
Absolutely, and like obviously his opinion, his analysis, it's all bad. We say these things that we all should know, right? He knows more about football than you and I do, of course. But it's still really odd to me that there isn't another central midfielder who can play there. Like a scenario that is not too far-fetched. Tyler Adams pulls his groin, pulls his hamstring, something like that in the first game. Christian Roldan comes in and gets 2 yellow cards. Who's playing in game 3 if both of those guys are absent? And that's not a far-fetched scenario.
All right, we'll get all of our answers soon. But for us here at Pier 17, the U.S. has revealed its roster in the city that will host plus New Jersey, right? I should be saying it's the great state of New Jersey next to a Jersey in the World Cup final.
That is an interesting caveat as well, by the way, isn't it? The New Jersey, New York. I think everybody thinks it's going to be right in the middle of Manhattan. Maybe there'll be a little surprise when they see where MetLife is in New Jersey. With
a little farther away.
It's a bit further away. It looks epic, though, doesn't it? With the background, with the skyline, with all the announcements, all the World Cup excitement has really started. Are you excited, Jimmy?
Yeah, of course.
Is it a turning point for you?
It has been a turning point for me. I'm excited to see how these 26 players perform, how they represent their country for a home World Cup, and yeah, I'm all systems go. I've got full belief in the guys to get a result in that Paraguay game, which I think really helps set the momentum and the tone for how we can attack the rest of the tournament.
And it starts this weekend, doesn't it? Because they've got Sunday against Senegal, then next Saturday against Germany.
Yeah, pretty good teams.
You were saying.
Yeah, I think we've been, very analytical about the roster and critical at times, but I get Big Tones' point and what you talked about, Jimmy. It's time to support the team, get behind them, and man, this is going to be so exciting. Dude, it's the World Cup in our backyard. I live in Kansas City, and Kansas City is a smaller city than the one that we see here in our background in New York. I don't think the people of Kansas City know what's coming. It's going to be unbelievable. There's 4 teams staying there. The best player in the world is going to be playing there with the World Cup champions. So I am genuinely excited, not just for the U.S. team, but for the World Cup. It is an incredible thing that is happening in our country.
By the way, what was it like when you got to Camp Benny? Because you were just saying it was quite a long build-up to the World Cup. Your situation was a bit different, right? Because they made the cuts towards the end.
Correct.
But when you're in there and you're like counting down, and now for these players to know that this is the team that's going to be representing the country.
Don't get hurt.
It was brutal because it's 30 guys that got called in by Bob Bradley in 2010, and we knew it was 23 that was going. So there were 7 cuts, and I mean, you're a team, so you all want to be a good teammate, but at the same time, you're competing competing for spots. And so, you know, for that first, I think 7 to 10 days before the time got there to be cut, it was, I mean, we were nervous. I was very nervous, and I remember I didn't get asked to play in a game. I think it was the second game. I can't remember exactly. I think it was against Paraguay. I might be mistaken. But anyways, I wasn't part of the roster. But then I realized that the other 6 guys that weren't part of the roster for that game day were all for sure going to be on the team.
So
it was like the
land-in.
I was like, oh my gosh, I think I made it. So
Yeah.
It was a good feeling.
How far do you think they're going to go this summer then, Chuck? Now we've got everything. Benny said the round of 16 is the measuring
Send us
stick.
home, Chuck.
Are we medaling?
Quarterfinals.
Okay.
Quarterfinals.
And that will be a success for you.
Wild success.
Depending.
I think. Well, I guess about how you play. A wild success would be a semifinal.
I'm not saying it's a success depending on the path, depending on how we've played, and depending on the inspiration that comes from these games.
We've only won 1 knockout game in our history as a men's national team.
We've only ever played in a World Cup that has 48 teams. We've only ever played in a World Cup that has 48 teams.
Sign me up for the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I would sign up for that for sure.
That'd be fantastic. And if we get to the quarterfinals, man, I think that game in itself
would galvanize the country.
It would be unbelievable. You know, win, lose, or draw in a quarterfinal match in the World Cup of 48 countries. It would be pretty inspirational to get to the final 8. The Elite 8, as we call it here.
Epic.
Yeah.
Would be epic. Top bins, as you like to say.
Top bins.
Top bins.
You were captain, Jimmy, for the US men's national team.
I was.
Who do you think will be captain this summer?
I'm going to go with Tyler Adams.
Okay.
I believe that if you give it to Tim Ream, who I can't say with full certainty is going to be at the level that we need to perform for the whole tournament, a captain needs to be out there every single moment leading the team. And so I think Tyler Adams would be a nice fit. He's got the experience of 2022. So that'd be my choice.
Well, 56% of our viewers agree with you.
Really
Christian
smart people
Pulisic
out
is
there.
Next. Chris Richards is on there and Tim Ream. Do you boys agree, Tyler Adams?
Tyler Adams is the one that is seen as a role model, and everyone knows when he speaks, he's speaking from the heart. He's very intelligent. The way he's handled some of those pressure questions in 2022 as a young captain. Now he's been in the Premier League for a while. He's a senior international. He's experienced. He's the perfect captain.
Hey, he's a leader on the field, and like Chuck said, he is a very good shield for the rest of the team, to the media, to the spotlight, which I think will be very bright in this World Cup.
He's an amazing communicator, isn't he? And he just made the Europa League as well with Bournemouth, so we've got him to look forward to next season in Europe as well. Adams, 100% captain, says one of our viewers.
hey, along with Milan and Juve.
Maybe a Weston McKennie. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you soon.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. With the entire nation hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in 2 worlds.
There are others, but they're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And we live the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount+.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Tell me, can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount+.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.